And we're live. Look at that. I'm a genius. I'm a technical genius sometimes. We just sat down here 15 minutes ago, and well, hello everybody. Welcome to Fishy Friday. And all of a sudden, turn that volume up, Jerry. All of a sudden, we didn't have me or Jerry on the screen. I had to hurry up, restart the computer, start up all the programs again, and I just got it done and was able to hit start right at 6 o'clock. So, whew. Sebastian says, what's the bet? Reaver's dad and Big Rich is having technical difficulties. But there's like 4 different jabs at us right there, all in one little sentence. I'm on time, Sebastian. It was 6 o'clock. Now it's 6:01. I was on time. No technical difficulties. It's computers. They're not as smart as you think they are. I set this up and everything was fine. I come back here and to sit down to do the live stream, and all of a sudden the webcam's not showing us. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and now no light to the webcam. I had to restart the whole thing and restart the programs up and rehook us to the internet. It was crazy. So anyways, as you can see, we got Brock joining us here tonight. And he just stopped by for what reason?
To say hi.
Just say hi.
I'm working.
So now Brock is back from his internship at Greg Woodstock's Aquascape. You worked there, what, a month?
Yeah, I worked there about a month.
And it was a seasonal thing. The beginning of spring, they always going to need a lot of workers. So he's going to work back there again next year. He comes back and he's like, nah, I got to find a job. I called my son, Richie. Boom. He got him hired. So how's working with my son?
I like it.
Really?
It's nice to work
He
with.
ain't working your butt off?
He is. I wish he worked a little harder. Worked me a little harder, though.
Really? I'll tell him you said that.
Well, the thing is, I hit my finger with something, and
He said you had a terrible first day.
Yeah, and then basically he was like, do you want to go home? When he should have looked at that, and he should have been like, what the fuck you going to me for that for?
Okay, well, he said you had a hard first day, and that day you've been doing pretty good. So I get reports on you behind your back all the time.
What I'm saying is he should be a little rougher.
Oh, okay.
Like, not so soft about it.
Oh, you know, he don't care. You go home, you don't have to pay you. Don't
That's
matter.
true. Yes.
If you can't work, then go on home. It's fine. So let me see. The drinking word for today. We're gonna go with either you want to say Brock or you want to say C diff. That's something we'll get into that in the Tracy update. What do you want to choose, Brock?
C diff.
Okay, so the drinking word is C diff. It's pronounced or spelled C-D-I-F-F. There you go. That's our drinking word tonight. C diff, everybody. Okay, so let me see. Get to the comments here. I think I've caught up on everything. Harley Gem says, good stuff, Brock. Tyler says, what's up, Rich and Jerry? How's it been? Excited about Fishy Friday. Had an amazing time last week. Thanks to everyone here and just chilling with you guys. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's what I like. You know, you're my, like I tell you guys all the time, you're my only time of getting out and hanging out and having fun, you know. I get friends over here that come by and we end up working. You know, so, I mean, we don't never, when do you come over and we just sit around and play pool and shoot the shit? You don't drink, you know, so, yeah. I mean, we don't never do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, we decide, we can get this done. And you're like, let's go. Like, as soon as you got here, we moved all the PVC outside. Then we moved that tank outside. Then we moved the 75-gallon outside. And then I came back in here, you know, and had to watch Tracy because the nurse was leaving. And you hung out with Josh the rest of the time. I don't know what you did.
Yeah, we were just doing some stuff out there.
Still doing stuff, yeah.
Checking on some fish and doing lunch. You're
always helpful when you come here, guys. Gracie says C diff. I'll explain that in a little bit, guys. Mike Stambot says he already knows what it is. It's no joke, and it is nasty. Jay Barb and the fish. You know, we just did this, but C diff. And Bill, C diff, this fits. Drink up again, guys. We're gonna get soused tonight. Oh, if you guys can't tell, I didn't have all 3 different nurses call out this week. I got caught up in my sleep, and I'm much more alive. I'm more, with it. Last week I was out of it. I didn't even know what day it was. I was just pushing myself. Watch Tracy, got to make the donuts. Gotta do this, And I was just so slow and I couldn't understand people with that much lack of sleep. And I was just like, huh? What did you slow down? What did you say? I wasn't able to understand people. It was crazy. So, oh, look at this. Sebastian tells me what I always knew. He says, Big Rich.
Or you redacted it.
Hang on.
As much as I love to see the Pacu in the pond, they're not meant to be in there.
You were right, Rich. The Pacu can't go in the big pond. I told everybody for years, I know fish. I know, at least these fish. I know how they are and what, jerks they can be. And, I kept telling everybody, well, the main reason was with all the lights we had in the pool pond, we took out that whole side of them over here. So we got a lot of lights out. We've got the one big light in on the other side, and then the 4 lights in the rocks on the other side aren't working. So we have to replace them. So, not a biggie. But I knew they were going to chew up all the cords, and then they would pick on, different fish. So, let me see. Harley Jem says productive friendships are the best. Talking about me and you, we get shit done. And now he's at the point where when he comes over, I put him in charge of like the community service. Go out there and tell him what to do, bro.
If they wanna work.
Right. Oh, there it is. Big Rich, you were right. Pacu can't be in the monster pond. However much I love to see them. Yeah, it was nice seeing them in there, and that was cool. I'll give you that. But man, they about killed some of our gar. I mean, not so much killed them with the damage, but when you put a fish in stress, like remember how we put that one Pima in with Brutus, and he followed him around all night, just nipping his tail. And by morning, he had given up, and his face was sticking up out of the water, and he was just hanging straight down. And he was barely alive. Like an hour later, he died. That's from stress, from being freaked out from these fish biting on you all the time. So, the gar are a lot more hardy than the Pima was. So, Doombly says, why is the chat disappearing 2 times? I don't know. It hasn't disappeared on me at all.
Well,
Restart your program.
He's talking about Sebastian's chat where he redacted it himself.
He retracted it, yeah.
We didn't cut it, he did.
Yeah, he pulled it out himself.
He's smart enough not to tell Rich he's right.
Come on. Someone's got to. I mean, I like hearing it. James McNally, C. Diff. All right. Oh, what happened down here? We have no numbers. This is crazy.
You just noticed that.
We stole it and took it upstairs.
Dude, there's no numbers down here.
What are you figuring out? It's getting a drink.
All right, I can't tell how many people are on it. That's locked up.
Technical difficulties again, folks.
Okay. Rob Schilling says, going to rain this weekend, Monday. Best to roll up. If you can do it Tuesday, it would be better because Monday I'm so worn out from the weekends and having to watch Tracy and working with all the guys outside that we have show up on the weekends that Monday's my day to catch up on sleep and try and, the nurse leaves at 3 o'clock. So I got to watch Tracy from 3 o'clock until 7 in the morning. I believe that's 16 hours. So Monday isn't a really good day. Tuesday would be better. And I guess Rob's coming up here and hanging out for a couple days. Yeah, Jens Carlson, G agrees. Fish can die of stress very easily, but people don't really know what that word stress means. Stress. How do you mean stress? Fish ain't under stress. They live in the water. It's peaceful. They just float around. No, there's, what if you were walking to school and there was the school bully was there and he beat you up every day, and then you're stressing out, you can't walk this way because he'll be there, and then you walk a whole different way and all of a sudden he catches you and you're trying to get away from him and he catches you and beats you up again. That's all. It's all the stress of thinking, oh my God, that fish keeps following me. Ow, he bit me again. Ow. And it's just the level of stress builds up and fish die real easy from stress.
It's like the bully walking behind you with a pea shooter and just popping you every once in a while. The gar don't move around in the water a lot unless they're stimulated. So the Pacu just swim up and taste their fins.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not that the Pacu are being aggressive, it's just what they do.
No, they're not being aggressive. They're not being anything other than dicks.
Yeah,
That's who they are.
it's how Pacu live. They'll taste the same piece of PVC 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
Just, and then come back an hour later and taste it again. It's just
Okay,
how-
I got
that's
that
what they
fixed.
do.
Thank you. I like when you talk, I can get to work on this stuff and get this fixed.
Go
Now
for it.
I got this one back on. I can take this and move it over, and boom, there's our numbers again, right here.
In the wild, the Pacu rip all the limbs off the trees during flood stage.
It's on the second screen.
They're the ones that clear all the brush underneath.
Oh my God. She goes here like so. Okay, now you gotta move that back up a little bit, right there. All right. Okay, good deal. I got my third screen set up. She comes in late as usual. Here's C dip to you, Ashley. Oh, Bill Lynch says Pacu and C dips.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Whatever the drinking word is, folks.
Harley says, but the catfish just sit and chill. Why weren't they chewed? Because they sit on the bottom. Their fins are more against the bottom, whereas the fins of the gar are sitting up top are right there, fresh pickings for the Pacu, and they usually come up top to eat the nuts and berries that fall out of trees and stuff, and the leaves and branches. So it's more of their style to take off the top than it is to go down bottom and eat.
On top of that, the catfish move out of the way before once the Pacu shows a little interest. It's not like an attack bite. They just swim up slowly and taste,
Yeah.
So by the time they try to taste it casually.
All right. Tyler Kerr says, Rich is like my dad using the computer, but he knows what he's doing at least. Don't get that messed up, Tyler. Now, I built this computer. I taught my kids everything they know about computers. I built their computers growing up. I used to work at Lexus Internet, updating customers' computers, and me and Reaper were always in this like side hustle of having the most up to date computer with the most hot rodded parts out there. I was always overclocking and stuff like that. So computers are second nature to me. My problem is I can't see, so I have to get up real close to see the motherboard now. I don't no longer solder on motherboards and stuff like that. I just can't see. But
This Doopy wasn't cornering them.
all right, let's settle this once for all. You're forever calling him Doopy, okay? I call him Doopie. Doopy, tell us who's right. I just call him Doopy.
Question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Just tell us Jerry or Rich.
Anyway, I wanted to ask him if he's ever tried cornering a 50 to 60 pound fish. He says it wasn't cornering them a piece of the option. You
Cornering a
can't
fish
cornering them with anything.
is just like cornering a wild animal, just like Reaper did to one of the stingrays. He walked towards him while it was in the corner, and he blocked both passageways. The thing came out and stabbed him in his ankle. Now, if Reaper would have went up to him on one side and walked towards him, he would have just slowly swam out this way. Reaper didn't give him an option to swim out, so they become aggressive. You can't do that. You can't corner any animal.
I think he's talking about just dividing it with a net. Can you do that?
Oh, yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Dividing it with a net.
Yeah, the problem is the net we use, we got a big, long minnow seam net with weights on the bottom and floats at the top. We did use that to introduce the one Pacu or the one arapaima in there. But we've used it for several ponds since, and man, that net stinks. We've rinsed it off, washed it off, and it just smells like rotten Lake Erie. So I don't want to put that into our waters anymore, So we'd have to buy a whole new net.
That stuff gets inside the handles.
Oh, come on. That's it. Upset. There we go. Shauna says, if anyone here is a fan of the legacy. Jay Tingle and Melissa Sweet have a new YouTube channel launched today called Wild Adventure Family. I don't know if Reaper showed his video yet.
No.
But Reaper just went up to the Legacy Aquarium and they finally contacted us and they gave us a waterfall they had sitting around. So Reaper went up there and picked it up. And he's got a surprise video for you guys. Jen says, wonder if that's what happened at Legacy. Gars mixed with Pacu. No, something happened at Legacy like 3 or 4 days after we left where the Pacu got sick. And they took him in back and had him quarantined. So I don't know what happened to them. I don't, who knows?
There we go.
Dang. How much farther
That's
did we
where you
go?
are right there.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Doomba says those Pacu are absolutely crazy, so damn powerful. It's unbelievable. Yeah, dude. If you watch the video of Josh getting them out and just seeing how much they were underwater, and the water was velocitized at his face. I don't know how many times.
Nobody can believe that Preston's hat stayed on.
Well, he has a band goes underneath his chin.
That's cheating.
That's cheating. Tyler says, I didn't know Pacu could be aggressive, but I guess any fish might be in certain conditions. Is that fair or right? I am way out of line. No, you're absolutely right. In the 3,500, where they don't have much room, they're very peaceful. I can have a bunch of fish in with them, and they never bothered anybody. As soon as I put them out in an open space, the Pacu were trying to take, okay, this area right here is mine. Stay out. And he'd nip at anything that would come close to him. There was a couple other fish. What was the other fish that were bit?
One of the iridescent sharks.
Iridescent shark. So, I mean, in a closed environment, the fish can't claim this. That's why cichlids work so good together. You got to overpower and overpack the whole fish tank. And then cichlids get along fine. If you put 7 cichlids in a 55, they're all going to fight, or let's say a 90 or a 110. They're going to fight for their little section of the tank. It's an aggressive behavior that is there in all fish, but you got to overcrowd them sometimes.
One of the biggest differences is there's a giant gourami, albino giant gourami in there that is the biggest monster I think he's got proportionally. That thing is the biggest one I've ever encountered. And it does not like Pacu. It does not like fish that look like it. That's just the way they are. And it was chasing the Pacu around the tank. It's actually bigger than the Pacu.
Do you think the giant gourami is bigger than the Pacu?
I think so. It outweighs them.
No. I will bet money on that one, Jerry.
I bet you it's within a pound.
Okay. I'll go $10. It ain't within 15 pounds.
We ain't gonna make him. No, it's
Man will not stand behind his word.
no, it's not that. It's pointless. Nobody's gonna win because neither of us are gonna put the fish through the stress of taking them out and weighing them.
Oh, I will for $15.
You cold. 1,500 maybe. Then, now you went over the part.
Silver Fox went to member for 5 months. Nice, thank you.
You skipped over Doopy's reply.
No, he didn't reply.
Yes, he did.
Oh, Jerry is closer to the original. Okay.
Yes.
Doopy? You want to be called Doopy from now on? Okay, Doopy. We're calling you Doopy. Sebastian says, good shirt, Brock.
Looks like it.
Oh, looks like it.
It makes you look like it.
Bill Lynch, this guy's a friend of mine. I'm not going to read what he said.
Dude.
Oh, Ashley, that's a good thing. make sure, this is for everyone, make sure that your chat is on all chat and not top chat, because then you only see the top chat. And that's computer chosen top chat.
Yeah. You don't have nothing to do with how many likes it got.
Right.
We got a newcomer there.
I already read that one.
We just deuced him again.
Doopy says, oh yes, that net sounds like it's not usable for the pond no more. Absolutely not. Oh no.
That's fun. Taking a photo on that one.
Rob Schilling says, my koi pond is breeding and it looks like Diddy's hot tub. Oh my God. That's too much of a picture in my mind. Hello 69 says, good morning all. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you.
Well, somebody put a green notice on there, like for newcomers.
I already read that one, Jerry. Sebastian says, Big Rich, can you
complete?
Missed you, yeah. Can you not mow the grass beyond the creek in the pond? That will reduce the workload for you. No, I want to mow it because I overtook that. I cut out all the trees. There was over 200 trees back there. I cut down everything and left choice trees where I wanted them to take over that yard back there. That's why my neighbor on the left is nothing but trees. My neighbor on the right is nothing but trees. Looks like woods on both sides, and I've got a nice grass area. So I wanted to open up area to that pond in the back. So and every spring from the rain season, I can't mow over there yet. You know, when we can walk over there and not get our feet wet, then the mower can go over there and mow. So the first time, I mow in a direction where it blows it away. And as I keep getting a smaller circle, it's blowing it onto what I've already mowed. And I have to do that the first time. So for like 2 weeks, it looks like dead straw all over the whole grounds. And then after that, you know, I go back and mow it and all that dead stuff gets chopped up and the grass gets cut right and it starts looking green the rest of the summer. So it's just something I got to do. Sean H says, where are you putting the waterfall? Welcome to our argument, Sean H. Josh says here, I say there. I say as a secondary there, Josh says as a secondary there. Not one of our ideas has matched up yet. We don't know where we're putting it. We have to decide, you know. So Josh measured the main place he wanted it, will not fit there. He wanted above the 3,500 gallon tank and have waterfall across there, and that will not fit. I wanted it on the front of the house. There is the front pond, and then it comes up out of the ground about 4 foot away from the house is the overflow, and then it waterfalls down into the pond. And if we put this waterfall above that, it'll look like the water's coming out of the house, going down this waterfall and going into the pond. I think that's a great idea. Our only other options are my secondary was to put it onto the Tracy pond in the back, covering the Owasa filters and making it look good there. So Josh was wanting to put it around the pool, and I'm thinking that'd be a waste, you know, of space and everything because we don't need it around the pool. The pool looks nice and natural enough.
Put it on the diving board.
Yeah. All right. Prince Vino says, Big Rich, we created a new drinking game with you, the star. On the weekly blogs, every time you say ow from stubbing a toe or bending over, we drink. You have gotten us hammered sometimes. I was just talking to you about this yesterday. My back feels better since it has for the last month. I was a week ago, I was going down the stairs from the kitchen to the laundry room. There's only 4 steps. But I was going down the stairs holding the wall and then holding the railing and one step at a time going, ow, ow, ow. Every step hurt me. And now today and yesterday, I was like, right down the stairs. I mean, I feel so much better. I'm losing weight and my back's getting better. It's like, I don't know, I feel 10 years younger. So there won't be as many owls is what I'm getting at, but that's a good drinking game. I like that. I might just start throwing some owls in there for you guys to get you drunk. Werner Bornman says, yo, legends. I'll drink to that. C. diff. lot of messages being retracted. People don't know I can go in and still read that.
Not if they retract it.
Oh, stop it, Jerry. You couldn't just let me have that. You couldn't let me just have that. They didn't know. Appreciate you, Jerry. Sue Ann comes in. Prince Vino, we've been playing that game for years. Well, that would be good. Not wait till the end of the day to watch the OFR videos. You're done with work. You're home. You grab a beer, put on the OFR video, and drink every time Big Rich says, ow. Like it. That makes me happy. I like that. Even in my pain, I'm bringing joy to the rest of the world. I love that.
I bet you when you hit your head on the awning and dosed yourself with the rainwater.
Oh, that sucks so bad.
Yeah, I bet you they all had a personal bottle in that one.
If we had somebody there catching the water that hit me in the face, I bet we could sell it. This is the water that soaked Rich that day.
The Reaper just happened to be positioned.
Right. Reaper was there, actually. He just didn't have the camera going. He was so upset that he didn't catch that on camera, Who got somebody? I think Josh got it, but not very good. I think this was way far back. I think that's the same thing. Silver Fox.
That's the one you were told me you already did.
Well, then how do we jump backwards? It always jumps forward.
I just watched you do it.
You went back too far.
I went back too far. That makes sense. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense around here.
Tommy81 says hello from Germany. Hello. Raheem says hello, Big Rich, Jerry, and Brooke. You spelled your name, Brooke. You're like the daughter your mother never had. Oh, she's got, Skylar. But you're still the daughter she never had.
That's now I am after that message right there.
That's funny. It's BROCK, Brock. Oh, Tommy81, Big Rich for president. I mean, if Trump could do it,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I mean, if Joe can do it, they put somebody in the White House that is completely inadequate. Trump's at least, I don't want to get into politics here, but anyone can admit that Slow Joe, as president, did not have all of his faculties compared to anybody else, including Trump. So let's not talk politics, but.
Yeah, no politics.
Sebastian goes, Danke. That's about the most German I know. Well, I know lots of German, and I'm not German. There's Wiener Schnitzel. There's Volkswagen. Right?
Yes.
It's actually Volkswagen.
What else?
People's vehicle. Volkswagen.
Thank you, Tommy. Big Rich. He says, Big Rich, the best fish guy. Tracy says, you children behave. I'll put you both in timeout. I don't know who she's talking to, but she's in charge, I guess.
That's Sebastian Simon talking Dutch again.
Sue Ann says, why did Legacy decide to remove the weeping wall? I know they were having trouble with it a few times. Man, you guys are more informed than I am. I don't understand.
They're taking a step back from their vlogs too, so they just got a lot going on there. You saw their recent videos.
And then really bad.
Sheesh.
I don't know why it's doing this to you, man.
How many
It's like you
viewers?
set it up to do in reverse.
How many viewers?
It should be down here, but it's not listing them. See, it says current viewers and it don't show nothing.
A little over 140. 146.
Okay, well, we got to get to the Tracy update pretty soon. Oh my God. Sebastian says we need more deck pics and trimming the bushes. Oh, if that ain't the undertones of some shady speaking.
Never too late to start an OnlyFans.
Oh, is that what I got? I got the weeping wall. I thought I just called it a waterfall. I didn't know that. So Shauna knows more about it than I do, and I talked to Lori, and all of a sudden we're giving the waterfall, and Shauna knows what it's called and why they're giving it to us. Wow. Okay. Shauna says, yes, Jennifer, Lori, and Steve are giving Rich the weeping wall because he fell in love with it when he was there. Wow. And Jens is asking for bigger dick pics. Oh my God. Links is 696 says, I disagree with you both. I want the waterfall on the roof. Oh, that'd be cool. Start the waterfall on the roof, run down the roof, come off, and go into the front pond.
Well, when I was doing ponds in Chicago, we did one pond where the guy had like the rain gutters and stuff like that, and he had a pump going up into his gutter, and it would waterfall down from his shed, from his little shed bed.
Nice.
So it'd be like your gazebo out there if you had like chains and stuff, and a waterfall coming off of it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
People get creative and all kinds of things. Harley agrees with me. The weeping wall outside in the front would look awesome. It would make the front pond look twice as big with this rock structure all the way up against the house. It looks like the water's coming out of the house and going down and then into the pond and then, around. Tommy81 says, how's the Discutatus and the Monster Pond doing? Is he okay? He's doing perfectly great. Problem is, at that size, they lose their stripes, so it's hard to tell him. He's just a dark critter, So you got to really know the fish to pick them out in the crowd. Oh, there's the Discutatus. When they're young, they got the orange and the black stripes and all that. And now he looks like the color of a Pacu with maybe a very slight darker stripe area. Will you guys start talking about how many times I say ouch? Oh my God. Every other word is ouch. Ouch per minute. Raheem says ouch, ouch. I thought you guys were my friends. So that must tell you how much pain I go through to endure and do this stuff. My back was killing me this last month. And now I feel so much better. I feel so much more alive. I talk faster. I walk faster. I do things faster. I'm bending over, It used to hurt me so bad to bend over.
They're trying to override your choice for the drinking word for them.
Pretty much. Speaking of, seed diff.
We fixed all that, Big Rich.
What's that?
Built an enclosure and got an alligator here.
We don't have the space. You can't build a small enclosure for him and put him against the wall. Doompy says compilation video. But actually, how they turn videos into songs? You should have a song like ouch, 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 ouch. Make it into a familiar song. And someone's going to do that now that I said that. Gracie says instead of beer pong, we have ouch pong. You guys, is this fun for you guys to pick on me like this? Is this fun for you guys? Joanna Nellis says, Brock, you're so quiet. Or is that cute? I think it's quiet.
It's quiet.
Why are you so quiet?
Just enjoying the stream.
Ah, okay.
I haven't been here for a long time, so I'm not really too up to date on what's going on with a few of the videos.
Doom Pie says, Guten Tag. There's another German thing. Jess Carlson, Big Rig for president.
How old is Ohio Fish Rescue, Big Rich?
probably 7 now.
7
I'd
years
say,
old?
yeah.
How old's the YouTube channel?
About the same. See, when I first started doing this, when I bought this house like 12 years ago, I put out a couple videos of us doing the addition and stuff like that. So the YouTube channel was started before the Ohio Fish Rescue, but when the Ohio Fish Rescue, we had that for like a year or so, I decided to start really putting into the YouTube channel to try and make some money
Okay.
to help pay for the, the monthly bills here.
So I thought you've been really just doing YouTube for the last 4 years or something.
I'd say about 6, but at first we weren't doing nothing, but we had to get up to, I think, so many videos and so many customers. We were just making wild videos and putting them on there. That was it. It was no big deal. But once we started, making money, it's been Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, it started off every other day. So Monday, skip Tuesday, it'd be Wednesday, skip Thursday, it'd be Friday, skip Saturday, it'd be Sunday. Then you had to skip Monday. So now it's Tuesday. You skip Wednesday, and now it's Thursday. So every week was different, and we got tired of that.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's it for the YouTube. And then Josh does all the other videos on the Facebook page,
Instagram,
TikTok, and Instagram. Yeah.
But TikTok's about to hit, I think, 800K here soon, so that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Paulus Modesivius.
No, it's
Civicious. That's it. D-Day is the 81st anniversary today. No shit. Brave men died too, and too soon to give us freedom. 29,000 American soldiers killed during the invasion. Rest in peace, boys. Wow, I did not even know. You see how quickly, things get forgot about in the past? Oh, no. How far back did it go? Okay, here we go. Sebastian says, it's not Slow Joe. He's my grandpa, Brandon. Okay, I don't know what that
Let's
means.
go, Brandon. It's a meme that was popular.
Oh, you're talking to the president. I'm talking to our buddy, Slow Joe.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I thought that was a kind of politic thing because of Harley's comment.
Gotcha. Okay, well, it's only 150 people watching, so we're going to still have to do the Tracy update. It's getting 6:30 already. So let's move on to the Tracy update.
I'm going to head out, Big Rich.
Are you? Okay.
Something to do.
take it easy, bro.
See us.
So you'd rather go and do bullshit running around than hanging out with us. I get you. Okay. Okay. Put the red chair back over there where it belongs.
You know I'm here as much as I can be.
I know, buddy. I'm just giving you some shit. Making you feel at home here,
I always feel at home here. Don't worry about that.
All right, buddy. You take care. Thank you. All right, so let's go to here and now try and find. Where is the background? There's the backgrounds there. What is this one? That's the webcam. So there's the cichlids. Nope, wrong ones. Where's Tracy? You see how little that writing is? Jerry?
What's that?
You see how little this writing is? I'm trying to read from across the room.
Yeah, well, especially when you hit it with a pointer, because the light blue and the white, you can't separate the two.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
can't from here.
Okay,
If I
so
can't, you fucking can't.
hey, what's with the F and the bombs?
I'm just agreeing with you.
All right, there's our Tracy. Okay, so this week has been rough. I did not want to get into it, but here goes. I think it was Monday. Our day nurse was here, the #1 nurse, and boom, she went #2 like 5 times, and it was horrible. it smelled worse than ever, and it was all runny, and so the nurse had it could be C. diff, right? And I'm like, what the hell is C. diff? I know stomach bugs, and you shit water. I can't say a nice thing about it. That's what happens. But no, this was really bad. And then so they sent a specimen cup, and we had to give her a specimen. And it turns out, she had it, so they had to give her vancomycin. Now, where would our little Tracy catch something like this? How? You know what I'm saying? Nobody else got it. And the nurses were, constantly changing their gloves and washing their hands because of it. And we got Pedialyte, we got some pink salve because it was making her skin red and all that. It was just rough for the first until Wednesday. Started clearing up and slowing down. And Tuesday and Wednesday nights are the nights that I worked the 16 hours watching Tracy, and oh my God, it was terrible. Putting this pink salve on her and making her to where she's not gonna. The liquid can't touch the skin because you have this barrier cream in between. And, she was so red and sore and hurting. I felt so bad. And then Thursday, there was no number 2. Friday, coming along, and everything was fine again. So it took less than a week. But, yeah, it was rough. I mean, that was horrible. I'd never even heard of it before. And then poor little Tracy just sitting in the bed catches it from some way. Where does it come from? How does that enter my house? I don't understand. So we got it under control, and we called the doctors and do all this different stuff, and they sent out specimen cups, and finally we got it. And poor Tracy, she was miserable for 3 days there. It was crazy. This is no longer hooked up again. I'll get this. There we go. This out of there. I can touch this. Now my things are working again. All right. But after that, she's been, it's been warm. So we've got the AC on. So I keep the house at 70 degrees for her. And she's comfortable. And I got these all organic suckers, and every once in a while, I'll just take one, unwrap them, and put it in her mouth for her. And she's just like, she's laying there just like eyes closed or something. I'll put that in her mouth. She just went, you can tell she likes it. She just like comes back to reality. Oh, thank you. That's so good. Because, she don't get no food through her mouth. Everything, she's got a trach and a feeding peg. So she gets nothing through her mouth. She never gets a good taste, So every once in a while, I'll throw some peanut butter in my finger and put it in her mouth, and she'll. It's so cute. I love making her happy. It warms my heart to see her happy, And I can tell how just a little Hershey's kiss just makes her ecstatic, And I don't know. So that's what we've been doing with Tracy. Let's see here. Shauna says, I know lots, just can't say much. If you're any kind of friend, you tell us all. So we all know. So look at her with her, superwoman. She always worked with me. She was, she's better than 90% of the community service kids that come here. She's a tough little thing. She would carry her side. Look at it. She cut her finger open and she's smiling about it. I love her. She's so adorable. Oh, that's when we went to CSU and picked up a bunch of fish they were experimenting on and brought them out and gave them homes. That's at Home Depot, bringing up, see, there's 2 pieces of drywall there, 10 foot long. She's carrying her side, I'm on the other side. You know what I miss most? She was my DD. As long as I got her within 2 hours of her taking her medication for narcolepsy, she could drive for them 2 hours. I would plan every day. Well, at 4 o'clock, you take your second dose. We're going to go to, Walmart, Home Depot. We're gonna stop for something to eat too, and I'd go out and I'd get everything done, and she'd drive for me, and you know I could still sit my thing, you know. I miss having a dedicated driver here because she never drank. She drank actually once a year. She would drink what do you want to call them? Cocktails, sorta, but very weak, like margaritas or what's that stuff with coconut in it? You know, the whole island thing, coconut rum, coconut, and something else. What's that drink called?
I have no idea.
Dang it.
I'm not the one to talk to about drinks.
Yeah. So you know, every year she would do that. She would drink on her birthday, and because I told her, you know, I will be your server. I will take care of you, and if you pass out, I will make sure you get to bed safely and this and that. So just let loose on your birthday. So then it turned into I was drink bitch, and her and her girlfriends would be around, you know, yo, drink bitch, and I'd have to come running. Sometimes they even put duct tape over my mouth, and that's how I had to stay all night. And I just served them their drinks, her and her girlfriends, and you know, made sure she had a good time, and you know, kept her, you know, safe and all that stuff. And if that's all I got to do once a year for her, that was you know, amazing. You know, they loved it. I mean, the amount of joy I gave these girls. You know, like one time she had my ex over, Benita, the mother of my first child. She had her over, and she's like, you know, this and that. And Benita said, oh, yeah, you know, Rich turned out, you know, to do so good in his life. I should have never left him. And she's like, never left him? Well, watch this. It's my birthday today. And she's like, yo, drink, bitch. And I come running up and just make her drink. She's like, Benita wants one too. And so I had to make her drink. You know, I'm serving my ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. And it was like, wow, okay. But Tracy loved it. She was like the man of the hour, you know? And Benita was like, oh my God, if I'd have known you could have trained him like this, I'd have kept him forever, you know? It was, she had good birthdays, you know? And then, you know, I'd always bought her something like I got her for Valentine's Day. She had an Easter basket. But there was a brand new pair of Nikes on there, light blue, big, thick, you know, heels on it because she was always about so short, you know? She wanted to be taller. So I got her these Nike tennis shoes with big heels, and then there was a bunny rabbit on there, and on the ear of the bunny rabbit was a diamond ring, you know? And so she never even noticed the diamond ring at first. Oh, I love my bear, and oh, these shoes are awesome. Thank you, honey. You know, you didn't have to do that. And I'm like, well, look at your teddy bear. And she's looking at it, and she's like squeezing the belly. What? And I'm like, look closer, honey. Finally, she finds the diamond ring, you know? And she was just so ecstatic, you know? Her whole left hand was covered in round diamonds because her wedding band and diamond engagement set was round. And then on her right hand was all Marquise diamonds. You know, because I've been with her for, 35 years. So over the years, I got her different pieces of jewelry. I even took some of her old jewelry and you know, built it up bigger and made it better and put new diamonds in it, stuff like that. You know, she always had really great birthdays, you know, so I miss her. But see, you know, in my situation, she never made me have a hard day. She always helped me. You know, I wasn't working by myself. I had Tracy beside me. Well, two reasons. I had to watch her because she had narcolepsy, so she can't be left by herself. Two, she was always helping me. So, you know, what was me giving up my day for her, for having her a good day for her birthday, you know? That's nothing. I could do that. Plus, it was quite funny. You know, all the girls were laughing and giggling and drunk, and the drunker they got, the stupider they act. I didn't drink that day. All right, so let me see what else we can talk about, Tracy. She's oh my goodness. Just today, I took a square piece of cardboard about this size. Let me get it off of this one here. Okay, about this size, the size of my head. Okay, I painted one green and I painted one red, and I've got a stencil for a Y and a no or N. So I've got 2 pieces of wood. Now, if I can have them, this far apart from each other, connected by a board, you got one here, and then you got one here. One's green with a Y on it for yes, and one's red with an N on it for no. Now, when I ask her a question, she can look left or right to answer me. She's getting so aware that I want to start incorporating that. So that's our newest thing we're doing for her. I'll have it done probably tomorrow afternoon. It'll be done. Because I painted it 3 coats today, so I have to let that dry. Then I have to put the stencils on there and then tape that so that none of that gets wet. And I'm going to paint it with white, the Y and the no or N. So it's going to take me till tomorrow, but it'll be done tomorrow. So Ann says, so why is C. diff the drinking word? Because that's what we were going to talk about during the Tracy update. And I always try and pick out a word that we talk a lot about so that people have to drink. We're not, if it was Brock's gone. We're not mentioning him during the Tracy update or nothing, So it ain't going to be mentioned no more. You guys are supposed to drink when I say it, Yes, you guys put it in the what is this called? The chat and all. But, usually it's whenever Rich says this or Jerry says it, And so I knew we were going to be talking a lot about C. diff tonight. C. diff.
I don't even say it. Just hold up to do it. Tommy 81 says, you got a long fin ancestris in the tank with the big-headed carp. Actually, there's a breeding pair. And I've got a couple of babies from them, actually. We don't try to keep the babies or anything with them, but
Life happens.
yeah, I'll find a way.
Richard Phillips comes in and says, evening, guys. Watching you from Sardinia, Italy. Nice. Man, I wish I could travel the world and go to these places you guys are from. I would love it.
Those people from Tanganyika today.
Yeah, that was nice. These people have what was it, a hotel? Or
I can't remember, some kind
it was a hotel or it was a bed and breakfast. It was something
type,
right on Lake Tanganyika.
right on the lake, yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, that sounds so nice. I wish I could go visit where you're from. The closest I get is this predator pond. See all the cichlids? That's my Lake Tanganyika.
Oh, I'd love to take one of those 20-foot tanks and make a Tanganyika reef out of it.
Yeah.
Nice big feather fin, a nice school of Tropheus mori, bunch of shellies, some of the other little ones. That's a dream tank for me.
Harley Jim says, pick on Big Rich out of love. Well, I'm glad y'all love me so much, but you're giving me a complex over here. Thanks for all the love.
I gotta be more careful with my mouth, though. I was teasing that guy about sending me a water cobra from Tanganyika.
Yeah.
And he got, oh yeah, I could send you one. We'll get that. Wait a minute, no, Jerry. What am I gonna do with a water cobra?
Tyler Kerr says, it's crazy to think OFR has done over 200 Fishy Fridays. Wow. You're doing everything right. Some of it because of Jerry, Rich, Reaper, and Josh. You're all amazing. It's been amazing for me. Well, I'm so glad,
Thanks, Tyler.
And no, it makes us feel good that we're helping other people out or making their day brighter or helping them out with their fish or anything. We're not scourge on society. You're not being, selfish or nothing like this. And it makes us feel good that we can actually inspire and help other people. It's a good thing. So thank you. Oh, Matt LeMay's here. He says better late than never. Day 12 in the hospital. Oh my goodness. I wondered why we didn't hear from you.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing good, buddy. He's got lots of health issues and he's going through a lot in life too at the same time with his health issues. So, hope you do good, Matt. Can't wait for you to come back. Okay, Jay and Barb, the fish keepers, says, what do you know about axolotls? I have 5 that laid eggs. They hatched. Wanted to put other fish or snail shrimp in with them. I'm still learning about them. Just figured I'd ask. Well, now we had that whole axolotl breeding situation going on here.
There's all kinds of axolotl information out there.
Yeah.
It's not something we specifically have.
Come on, how far did it jump?
We were back in the that's no doctors left.
Okay. Matt answers, says, hopefully getting transferred to rehabilitation and nursing care center tomorrow after 12 days in the hospital. Wow.
Good for you. I hope it's good for you.
Well, Lynx 96 says, yeah, C. diff is highly contagious. I just don't know where she got it from, why or how. I never leave the house, once every 3 or 4 weeks. And then it's only to do something, come right back.
Me too eating anymore.
Yeah, you only leave to go to the grocery store and back.
We're going to get me some cigars.
Oh, no, you do make your eventual, every once in a while, trips to Michigan with Reaper. That's your
Well,
getaway.
we're going to all get out of here at the same time.
Yeah.
Trying to do something out of here together with anybody who is here is almost impossible.
Pina colada, that was the drink I was thinking of earlier. Thank you. Rich, does Tracy get, Sue Ann said this, anything for the narcolepsy now? Yes, because she went into a delusional period for like 3 months. I've told you guys this before, but I'll make a real quick update of it. Metro, when she went in there for her broken hip, they did not give her narcolepsy medicine. I told them how important it was. They said, we don't even have that medicine here. I went home and grabbed the medicine and came back. They took the medicine from me and then proceeded to not give it to her because the recommended daily dose is 200 milligrams a day. She's been on 1,000 milligrams a day for the last 15 years. And it's the only thing that makes her alive and be functional and normal for the day. And boom. Well, they kept her off of it. And they called me after 2 days. I just had gotten home from being with her. And then they said, oh, she's up here faking it. You need to come up here and pick her up. I'm like, faking what? She's got, broken hips. No. That surgery's done. Everything's fine with that. She's faking her blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I go up there, and Tracy, now she is the most timid creature. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't get out of bed and go out to the kitchen and get me a glass of water without putting her bra, t-shirt, and at least a pair of shorts on. She would not go out there naked in her robe, or even putting a bra on and putting a robe on. She would not go out in the kitchen like that. I walked in to this girl laying on a bed. There's like 4 people in the room. The robe is barely covering one of her centers of her breast, and the other one's covered fine, but she's got one leg hitting the ground and one leg arm hanging off the bed. And I'm like, what the hell? And I go over to her, and her pupils are the size of her eyes. They were huge. I'm like, this ain't Tracy. This ain't the Tracy I know. This is drugged up Tracy. What did you give her? And they wouldn't tell us anything. They didn't give her nothing. Well, they kept her narcolepsy medicine from her. So now I had to take her home. I had her home for 3 months. And then on that 3rd month is when she woke up one day. I'm putting her in her wheelchair all day because she's got a surgery on her hips. She's got poles sticking out of her hips and poles screwed together and all this stuff. I'm putting her in her wheelchair all day, every day. And she's sitting out there, and she would just like scream and yell. And, she wanted this blanket over her head. So we put it over her head, and she'd quiet right up. And everything was fine. She'd sit in that chair for hours with a towel over her head. As soon as you remove that towel, she went to screaming and yelling again. And this is not Tracy. Tracy does not, she didn't swear like that. You know what I'm saying? She swore like a trucker. You effing mother effers and blah, blah, blah. We put the towel on her, and she went right back to quiet. She'd just sit there. this is the strangest thing I ever been in my life. And then one day she wakes up after 3 months and she wakes me up. She goes, Rich. I'm like, yeah, what, huh? What? She goes, what the hell is this? And she points at the bar sticking out of her, hips and out of her belly. And I'm like, oh, Tracy, that was the four-wheeler accident. We went over the handlebars and you landed on my back. And I don't know how you got hurt, but I slid down the mountain with you on my back. And then you ended up breaking your hips. I don't understand how that happened, but I had scratches all across my chest, all my belly. It pulled my pants down, and my thing was there, and it got all scratched up on the top from all the rocks I slid down with Tracy on my back. I was hurt for like 2 weeks. And I don't know how she got hurt. I have no idea to this day, but she did. So then I'm like, wait a minute. You just called me Rich. She's like, well, what would I call you? And I'm like, honey, you haven't been here for 3 months. You haven't known who me or the kids are. At that time, the kids were still living with us. And she said, what are you talking about? And I show her that the bedroom we're in is now done. When she first started this, it was an addition onto the house and it was just framing. And now we're sleeping in it with carpet and painted walls and headboards and dressers and bathroom in it and all that. It's all done. And she hasn't been around for 3 months. And then I showed her the kitchen, and then I showed her washer and dryer. See, now, all her life, she's been with me 35 years. Whenever a washer goes kaput or a dryer, I'd look on Marketplace or Craigslist at the time and find another one for $50, and I'd tear the other one out and I'd put the new one in. And she had a washer and dryer. She had a washer and dryer this whole time. They never were matching. They never were pretty. They never were new. I didn't waste money like that. And now, because we bought the new house, I went ahead and bought her front-loading LG washer and dryer on pedestals, and they're red with red pedestals. She got to see this washer and dryer, and she went to crying every day. She saw this, she'd go to crying and hugged me and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then by noon, she was gone again. And then the next day, she'd wake up, same thing. Rich, what the hell is this? I'm like, what are you talking about? I swear to God, it was like 51st dates. It was crazy. To where I ended up making a video for her to watch, just like 51st dates. Every morning, she woke up like this, and then every day she stayed in a little bit more, a half hour more each day. And then one day after 30 days, she stayed in and was perfect ever since then, until her whole episode where she died. So she's amazing. She works. She is a fighter. She will come back from this. I know this in my heart. So yeah, I don't, to go back to the original question, Swan, I don't stop giving her narcolepsy medicine because I don't want that interfering with her
Coherence.
Well, not only her coherence, but her, getting better every day. I don't want her in a stupor for, where she don't know who she is for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, like before. I don't want that to be involved in this. Let her heal as best she can now, So. Jess Carl says, oh my God, duct taped Rich. Wow, sounds amazing. Okay, I knew you guys were going to love on this. Jess Carl says, Rich stripping for all the girls. Who wants to see big man strip? You know what I'm saying? No one wants to see that. Tyler says, being a drink bitch just makes you a great husband, an amazing bartender. Don't worry, Rich. I am every time me and my wife drink, she slips her cup loud when her drink's gone, and then she says, love you. Ah, see, now that's a good marriage. I love that. Fish Capade says, so lucky to have each other. Raheem says, when is Tracy's birthday? That is August 24th. Raheem says, hashtag Team Tracy 3 times. Oh, Harley says, we would put our empty glass on our heads for the designated bartender to refill. And then when you can't hold your glass there, you're cut off. That makes sense. Matt LeMay says, great idea with the yes/no sign. She'll get it, and you know she's listening. Well, we know she's listening. It's getting her to answer is the problem because, I mean, she'll grab my hand and squeeze tight, but she doesn't squeeze on command. You know, squeeze my hand for yes, twice for yes, once for no. Or squeeze my hand once for yes and not, don't squeeze my hand for no. It hasn't worked. But I know when I put my hand in her hand, she ends up squeezing and then holds on tight. And then I let go of holding her and her hand will not fall. She's holding on, you know. And then finally, I have told her, okay, honey, let go. Let me know you're listening. And she has let go and her hand has dropped. So she's there. She's trying. I'm just trying to make it easier for her to listen. It's easier to look left or right than it is to squeeze your hand and not squeeze your hand when you don't have control, you know. So Michelle Purton. Hi, Michelle. She works up at the local nursing home, and she brings us by supplies all the time. Anything they have extra, she brings by. Thank you, Michelle. She goes, I saw in the latest issue of Tropical Fish magazine, Josh was interviewed. Actually, I was interviewed, and they put Josh's name on there. I'm like, I spent like 8 hours with this lady, and I did all this, and she made the interview, and then she puts it, not Big Rich and Josh from Ohio Fish, Josh from Ohio Fish Rescue.
How old was that interview?
I don't know.
She seemed like a lot older.
It was like 4 months after she interviewed us that it finally came out. Raheem says, Jerry, where's your drink? You just lifted it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it just jumped again.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. Crazy Cichlid says, Big Rich, love you guys. Love the videos. You're doing an amazing job. You're an absolute inspiration. Aw, to everyone. Thank you. We hope to get over and see yours from Northern Ireland one day. Anytime you guys, anybody from around the world, anybody's coming, to the United States or can make it here, you've got open invitation from me. We won't charge you for a tour. Nothing. You're coming so far. You're spending so much money already. You got free tours here at OFR.
Just don't knock on the door unannounced during life.
Yeah, let us know you're coming. Ask us.
Oh, I don't know what up with that.
Matt LeMay says, you're not the queen of DIY? That's right. I'm a man's man. I build stuff, it stays built. But look, remember Josh doubting my 3,000-gallon tank when we pulled it out of it? He thought it was going to fall apart. He's like,
I didn't expect it to come out as good as it did.
That's because I built it, son. I build everything. I overbuild. Tyler says, I know I say it every week, but everyone at OFR are an inspiration to me and my wife and to my fishy family. Thank you. You're amazing and help my Fridays go better. Love you all and all at OFR like our family. You know what? Thank you so much. And you guys are our fishy family. I treat you guys, I go on here and I treat you guys like you're my family, period. That's all there is to it. That's how I treat my friends. So, I mean, you guys need to come in and you want to visit and this and that, I'll offer any one of you guys a room for my, I had 3 kids here. And now I have
to be put to work.
I will put you to work.
That's what he considers friends.
But you'll have a free room to stay in with its own, that bathroom is like, if we paid somebody to do it, it'd be $10,000, $15,000. It's all marble. It's all shiny. It's got a shower thing with like 15 different shower heads on it, glass shower doors, all matching, silver nickel, utensils and stuff. I mean, it's a beautiful bathroom. And you get to close that door and you got your own hotel room with your own bathroom, That's what I give out to people. That was my gift to Josh. And then he got married and moved out. So it's a brand new bathroom about 6 months before Josh moved out.
It's a nice shower.
It's got a nice, beautiful shower, yeah. All right.
Jerry blowing hot air.
Matt LeMay says one of the nurses had to bring that in. If Tracy got it, that's the only way, because it had to come from a hospital setting or a clinic setting. Never heard of anybody in the home getting that. You know, that makes a lot of sense. Because I don't leave. So how am I going to get it? Jerry don't leave. How's he going to get it?
What is it?
C. diff is a thing in your it's a not a parasite, but a bacterial infection.
Yeah.
And then you shit water,
Oh.
and it's yellow and smelly as hell. And then it's like 5-6 times a day. And the only way to stop it is by taking vancomycin. So, you know, if you don't have it, you'll stop.
Never had it, don't want it.
Right. Like
Yeah.
if you had a stomach virus, you'll stop after a day. You know,
Yeah.
when you run out of water, you run out of stuff in
This
your
will keep
system.
going until you kill it.
This will keep going until you kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like crabs.
Oh, sorry. Malame says, will you open up a magazine and find Josh in them? Well, there is a couple articles with Josh, you know, headlining it. But, you know, I was at a doctor's office once, and I'm sitting there waiting for Tracy and this and that. And I open up Life magazine, and I'm going through Life magazine, and boom, there's a picture of my car. I'm like, what the hell am I doing in Life magazine? And, you know, the whole story about it and everything. I never knew the article was written. I had no clue. So I found myself in Life magazine. Then I found myself in, you know, Fishy something magazine and all these other magazines. And then when I was doing the autoramas, I was on Jason Priestley. Remember him from 90210? He was hosting a show called Rise. And I was on one of those episodes where it was in Detroit. We were at the Detroit Autorama, and he did a thing on my car. And then as the show ended, it showed my car driving out. And my car has a surge, so it's like, whoa. And the car lifted up like a half a foot and lurched forward. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was the title, you know. So he walked in front of the car backwards, or not him, but his photographer, walked in front of my car backwards as my car just did this all the way out of the, you know, Detroit Autorama. And that's how the show ended, was with that. So I was on there. I was in a movie called, oh, shit, what was that movie's name? Shit, it's been so long. That was in 2002. I did the movie. Fulton's Point. That was it. That was what it's called. The movie never got released. They did the whole, you know, previews and the, what do you call that for the, you want to watch a movie, here's a little section of it. The beginning of the movie, what's it called, Jerry? Preview of the movie.
Yeah.
They did 2 different previews, a long and a short, but the movie never got released. But I was in that movie. And I was in Carcraft magazine, Hot Rod magazine, Rodders magazine, Cruising Times magazine a bunch of times. I've been in many magazines and stuff like that with the car. But then we started with the rescue. Now I've been in 2 different magazines with the rescue, stuff like that.
Somebody asked a question a little while ago about, are there any small gar? I always stop thinking, I don't know what the smallest gar is.
Florida gar.
The Florida?
It
And
gets
they
about,
still get about 18, 20 inches.
well, 15 inches. 18, 20 would be like, you know, how we all grow 6 foot, but there's some of us that are 7 foot.
The needle nose is bigger.
Needle nose?
The needle nose gar, the
No, there's a little needle nose. It only gets about 5-6 inches. You get it at the pet stores.
no, that's a tetra.
No, it's a gar, but it's called the like Argenta gar or something like that. I don't know much about it because I don't
okay.
deal with that. But and then the pipefish looks like a gar. And it's got the long mouth, you know.
Yeah.
No,
there's.
But the smallest of the big gars would be the Florida gar, and it usually around 15 inches.
Isn't there one called a needle nose gar that's got a big long
Yeah, but he gets up to 4 foot.
That's what I thought. I didn't think that one we had here wasn't that big.
No, he was about 1.5 feet, and that's my dream is to have a huge needle nose gar. But for some reason, every time I get him 1.5 feet or maybe 2 foot, some other fish kills him.
Yeah, you got the same problem with the tigrinus.
Same problem with the tigrinus. I can't grow one over 2.5 foot. They always end up dying. Hannah says, Big Rich, can alligators eat freshwater rays? Absolutely. They can eat whatever they want. They'll rip off a piece, you know. Say Jerry's taking a walk down the beach at night, and an alligator reaches out and grabs him by the leg. They'll twist and rip that leg off and then eat that. And Jerry will have to go to the hospital, and he'll be missing a leg the rest of his life if he makes it. You know, that's how alligators are. They spin to rip off sections. Like say they eat a shark. They'll bite and then they'll spin. And the shark can't spin with them, so they'll rip out a whole size bite mark out of their side or something, or out of their bottom. And then that fish ends up dying. You know, so other fish eat off of that. The alligators are no joke. Jennifer Bean says she will come back, Big Rich. You are right, bud. I feel it in my soul. I know it. You know, I know this for a fact. She will come back. She may not be all there like she was before, and I may have to take care of her the rest of her life. I just want her to be able to tell me if she's in pain or not, or if she's hungry or not. Once we get to that point, that's as much as I begged for, as much as I've asked God for. If we can, if we can get her to that point, her life will be so much easier. You know, if she comes back and she's like, I don't care. I will still take care of her. As long as she can have a better life, she can ask for what she wants. I can make a language out of nothing. If she can only nod yes or no, I can make a language out of that. You know, are you hurt? Yes. Okay. Is it your knee? No. Is it your ankle? No. Is it your thigh? No. Is it your belly? Yes. Okay, I'll get you some Imodium or some Pepsid, you know, see, something like that. It would make things easier for her. She can't speak to us right now. She can't tell us what's wrong. We just have to watch her body language, you know. It would make life so much better for her. It would be a big, huge step forward, you know. I told her as long as she's able to say yes and no, I would remarry her at that point. I don't care how messed up she is. I don't care. You know, she may get better over time. It doesn't matter to me. She was been such a good woman for such a long time that she deserves to be remarried again. That's what she wanted. She deserves to be remarried again, and she deserves to hang out with her granddaughter and her new grandson that's coming, and her other granddaughter now. So there's going to be 3 real soon. So she deserves this. You know, I don't care what she done to me and why we got divorced. I feel in my heart she deserves this. She needs to be here for this. And I don't care how she comes back. She's going to come back some way or another. And I will remarry her and give her the life she...
Who's keeping track of the Tracy update tonight?
It's always Shauna.
I think it's been split into 3 separate sections.
Well, there was a Tracy update, and then we talked about Tracy, and someone else brought Tracy up again. So as long as Shauna puts on there, you know, Tracy, I think it was 636 or something like that. Tyler says she is a very tough woman. She's going to pull through. See, you guys don't even know how tough she was. She fought with me. I mean, I'm trying to teach her how to be, and you guys are going to take this wrong, but she was very young, and she lied to me about her age, so I thought she was 18, and then I threw her 21st birthday and found out she was turning 18 at that point. So it turns out I was with her since she was 15. And I was, you know, like, you trying to teach her how to be a loving, caring mother and parent, and she just wasn't, I don't know. But I'm trying to teach her all this stuff, and you know, I don't know, it didn't work out well at first, and we got divorced, and she ended up homeless, and I gave her a place to stay, but there were certain rules you had to follow. You know, I didn't want, like in my life, mom and dad split up, and I was living with mom, and then I'm meeting all these guys, and there's Uncle Larry and Uncle Mike and Uncle Paul and Uncle, you know, I don't know. So I never wanted that for my kids. You know, if I get married, that's it. I'm staying married. Now, I will never, you know, cheat and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, she had a different life, you know, and she was too young for what I was ready for, you know. So I ended up divorcing her, is what she did, and I was done with her. But then she ended up homeless, and she ended up being the best wife to me ever, you know, for the next 25 years. It was amazing. And I still held it against her, you know. I never let it go. I thought she was pretending. I didn't know it was for real until after she died. You know, I'm cleaning out my bedroom and stuff, and I went through her paperwork, and I found all these letters that I guess her therapist made her write of what she wanted to tell me, you know, and stuff like this. And all these letters, the only thing out of all 20-some letters was the only thing that was clear is she wanted to be remarried again. She's sorry for what she did, all that bullshit.
See fit, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Tyler. I thought I had the conversation changed. Yeah, the guy, she's a tough woman. I never had the pleasure, and I'm looking forward to it. I know I will someday. So
yeah, I owe it to her to give her a good life, and she's given me the last 25 years were amazing. And even though I didn't accept it, I thought it was all she's trying to trick me, you know, and I would never remarry her. Now I know it's not, because she went to her deathbed, you know, with this feelings and this writing and all this stuff. So the moment she can say yes, I will remarry her no matter what shape she's in, and take care of her the rest of her life, and let her see her grandkids and show her, you know, the pond we built for her, the deck we put in, the gazebo we put in, you know, finish off her dream, you know, backyard. Matt LeMay says, oh, I can't even see through my glasses. Dang it. Okay. Matt LeMay says, oh, she's going to snap out of it. You'll have that feisty Tracy back. Just wait till she gets her spatula back in her. Oh, my God. She chased me with that thing. I remember those days of chasing you out of the kitchen. He knew it.
I seem so old.
You know, I'm playing with her, and I'm coming up there. Oh, what you doing? She's doing dishes. I'm like, what you doing? I poke her on the shoulder. And she's like, stop it. I'm like, no, what you doing? And I poke her again. And she's like, Rich, I told you to stop it. And I'm like, why? What's this? This is nothing. This is nothing. And she'd pick up a spatula, turn around. She's like, I'm going to kick your ass. She's so tiny. She's like 4 foot nothing, you know. She's 5 foot. But she's so tiny to me. And she gets mad, and it's so cute. It made me laugh. And just, oh my God, I adored her. You know, it's crazy. It's how things were with her. And, you know, I'd be laughing, and she's like, stop laughing, I'm serious. And she chasing me with the spoon, and I'm running around the house. This is some of my funnest times with her was when she was mad at me. Oh my God, it jumped again. Oh, not far.
Very good.
Tyler says, you are meant to be, or else the world would never have reunited you together. Keep it up, Rich. We love you. Oh, thank you. Matt says, you're still married to her. It's just a piece of paper. That's all. You don't have Tracy knows she's your wife, so you need to make it legal. That's all. Well, no, we know that. Yeah, she knows that. She knows that I'm, you know, at our first 4 or 5 years of marriage, it was always our family against me. And I'm like, why do they hate me so much? You know, this and that. I didn't know that I got with her when she was 15. I thought I got with her when she's 18. And then she tells me her family threw her out. So, of course, I let my girlfriend I've been with for a year move in with me. And, you know, we're getting along. And then we got pregnant. Then we bought a house. And then, you know, we got married and all this stuff. And her family still don't talk to me. I didn't understand any of it. Later, you know, and when on her 21st birthday, I find out that she's only turning 18 because I went to her family. I overstepped, and I went to her family behind her back, and I'm like, look, all she wants is, I know you guys are not talking, but all she wants is you guys there for her birthday. It's her birthday, you know, please show up here. You know, and the only one that showed up was her sister. So when I came walking out with a cake and had the candles 2 and a 1 on it, she's like, Rich, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm bringing her a birthday cake. You know, she's like, well, why is there a 21 on there? I'm like, again, duh, she's 21 today. She's like, no, she's not. She's turning 18 today. What the fuck? I've been with her for 3 years. Now I know why her family hates me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. Her family could have put me in jail. I didn't have no clue whatsoever. So yeah, it was strange, but we've been together since, you know. And
I'm sorry, I just read Matt says tonight the Tracy report.
Tyler says, sorry, Jerry, sorry, Rich. Didn't mean to bring it back up.
Yeah.
You got me almost in tears. Just from how much you love her, Jerry, or to you. You know what, Tyler? If you've got a woman that treats you good, and you know what? Here's the thing. I tried Tracy out on, just watch the kids. I'll work. I'll make all the money. And she was terrible at raising the kids. They didn't listen to her. They didn't respect her. They did nothing, So I was like, I'll watch the kids. I'll take them to work with me because I had my own, carpet business at the time. Just to take all the bills. I'll hand you the money. You take care of the bills. And she destroyed our bills and our credit and everything. It was terrible. So I was like, I'll take care of the kids. I'll take care of the bills. Just go get a job. Make a couple $100 a week and help out. That's all. And that's where we went wrong, because now she's at work and, there's guys hitting on her, and one thing led to another, and she ended up cheating on me. She was that. See, here's the thing about Tracy. Everybody loves her, and there's good reason. She's so sweet. But the way she was brought up, she was the youngest of 9. So she was always forgotten about. She was always, nothing, she got all the hand-me-downs. So she, in her mind, somehow grew up thinking that she had to please the strangers, this and that. So I guess I took over as her father figure when she moved in with me. And now she's at work and some guy likes her, so she wants to make him like her more, and blah, blah, blah. And this one thing led to another, and that's how that happened, and we got divorced. And, I tried telling her, I'm like, you know what? Strangers ain't going to be there for you. Your family is. That guy didn't pay your rent. That guy didn't take care of your children. That guy didn't stay when you got pregnant. I did. Why would you? How? It was horrible. It was the worst few years of my life. I grew up knowing I was only going to get married once, and I will never ruin that marriage, because my mom got divorced from my dad. My dad stole me from my mom, put me with somebody in Pennsylvania. Then my mom found me and took me and put me with somebody over here. No, my mom put me in Pennsylvania. My dad put me with somebody in West Virginia. And then my mom got remarried to Clark Slaughter. And then she had Sean, my younger brother, who just died last week. And then my dad remarried to somebody else that had Mike. And then he had Greg and Junior, my younger brothers. And then my mom remarries to some other guy named Ken Simmons. And he had 3 daughters, Lydia, Julie, and Laura. They're my sisters now. And
Richard Simmons.
If he would have adopted me, I would have been Richard Simmons, yes.
I can see it.
But I was too old at the time. So, yeah, thank God that never happened. Holy shit.
I like that.
So in all this running around and being passed around from family to family in different situations, I swore to God, I'm going to have a family like Little House on the Prairie. I'm going to, be a good father, good husband, and I'll never falter. I never took into consideration she would. I thought giving her the best life I can possibly give her, she'd just be appreciative and never, But she was young and dumb. I didn't take into consideration how young she was and all that. I didn't know. She lied to me. So, that almost killed me. I mean, I've never contemplated killing somebody or doing suicide before in my life. And in them 3 years, I contemplated both. It was crazy. It was something I wish no one would have to go through. Matt LeMay says, water in the bridge now. You do build a cast together and she can become your queen once again. She was, and I didn't acknowledge it. All she wanted was to be remarried to me. she never knew how much I cared about her, you know, and how much. Let's move on. She's, you know, for the last 25 years since we got divorced in 95. So, you know, 2005, 2015, 2025, it's been 30 years since I was divorced from her. And we've been together since. So the first 3 years were rough. Shauna, thank you. See them, everybody. Harley Jim sounds like he's answering somebody. Says we are breeding stingrays. We always breed stingrays. We try and pride ourselves on having the top of the line breeders, and we always, when we get something good in, we sell off the lowest, you know, stock, and we have nothing but the top of the line breeders for our stingray breeding situation. But we don't breed all fish, just stingrays, because my last ones were like 30 inches, and they were having, you know, 12 to 15 pups a piece. And, you know, and they were selling it $1,000 a piece. Now you're selling it, you know, $700 to $800 on good black diamonds, and, you know, probably $300 to $400 on Matoros and you know, albinos, you know, and all that kind of stuff, pearl rays and all that stuff. So you're not making as much money now, but it still helps us. Every couple of months we have a whole batch of babies, and it just helps us, you know. All of a sudden you've got an income of, you know, I don't know, 4 babies at you know, $300 a piece. That's $1,200. We can go buy a background for a tank. You know, all of our tanks are barren. You guys see this because we've never wasted money buying unnecessities. You know, unnecessary things. And let's face it, backgrounds and, you know, decorating the tank is not a necessity. The tank, the water, the filtration, all necessities to keep the fish alive. Everything else past that, the gravel, the background, the you know, fake plants, the real plants, the wood, you know, it's all beautification, which is for the fish tank owners. You know, it does, the fish don't really need it. I mean, if they're just in an open tank, they need something in there. But, you know, the beautification part has always been, we never spent money on it. And now we're getting able to spend money on that kind of stuff. Like with the Legacy Aquarium donating that tank to us. You guys got to watch Reaper's thing because it shows. Well, you know what? He's busted on my videos so much and put out ahead of time. I'm going to go ahead and do that to Reaper today. I'm sorry, Reaper. While he was there, they showed him the Pacu in the back room and their quarantine system and all that. And I guess Reaper videoed their albino Pacu coming out from the back and going back into the pond. I guess Charlie's still back there. He hasn't recovered fully, but he's doing much better. So finally we get answers with that. But that's Reaper's video. No one tell Reaper you know. Oh, Jesus. Come on. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, Tyler said, sorry to hear about your brother, Rich. He was a POS. I haven't seen him in like, I don't know, 25 years. He was in prison, and I went and got him released from prison. And to do this, you have to sign papers stating that the parole officer can come into your house at any point he wants. You have to give up the rights of a warrant and all that stuff if you want this parolee released to your custody. So I bought him a bed, I bought him a dresser. He'd been in jail for like 5 years. And I bought him a bed, and I bought him a dresser, and then I bought him a car. And it was a little station wagon. It wasn't nothing fancy or nothing. But about 2 months out, you know, he starts arguing with me, and, you know, he ended up taking a swing at me, and, you know, he ended up leaving that night. And I didn't see him the next day, but his parole officer just happened to stop by. Hey, how you doing, Rich? Let me talk to Sean. I'm like, Sean's not here. You know, and he's like, well, where is he? I'm like, I think he's at work. And he goes, no, his car is right here. And he points at I had a 79 Pontiac Firebird with the motor sticking out of the hood, you know, N5015s on the back, big old tires, you know, street machine. And I'm like, that's not Sean's car. Sean drives a station wagon. I bought it for him. And he goes, let me see his room. And I let him in, and he saw his room and saw his room was empty. Sean moved out the night before. So they went up to his work, and they picked him up and revoked his parole. I got a call from my mother saying how I ruined my younger brother's life. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I didn't even know Josh or Sean got picked up, you know. And she's like, they revoked his parole, and now he's back in jail. I'm like, you know, I don't know what to tell you. You know, he swung on me yesterday, and I avoided it, and I told him, you're lucky I don't beat your ass, blah, blah, blah. You're in my home, you know. My kids were like 3 and 7 at the time. You know, you're swinging on their father in the house that I'm letting you live for free. You know, no. So I tried explaining to my mother, and she hated me, said, absolutely not. You ruined his life. You know, I guess he had talked to her first, said, Rich threw me out, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I got rearrested. Now my whole parole got revoked because of Rich. I knew nothing of it. When she called me, I didn't even know he got, you know, his parole revoked. You know, but what am I supposed to do when his parole officer's at your house and you have to sign a bunch of papers saying he has rights to walk in and see Josh's room? You know, you can't say no. He'll show back up with the cops and you'll get arrested for, you know, impeding or whatever. But anyways, I disowned my mother for that because I did everything I could to help this man. And, you know, I've never heard from him since. Later on, about 10 years later, you know, me and my mother made up and this and that. And she learned the truth. And, you know, Josh, or I keep saying Josh, Sean's been back in jail 2 or 3 times since then. And, you know, he's just a problem kid and this and that. And, you know, she ended up passing. And that's the next time I heard from my brother. He called up, he goes, hello? I go, hello? I didn't know the number. I go, hello? He goes, you know, mom's dead. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, Aunt Judy called me and told me, and Cousin Sherry called me. And he goes, all right, just thought you'd know. Click. So that's the only time I talked to him in 20 years. And now I get a call from some cops in Columbus saying that, you know, he died last week. And that if I wanted to, you know, collect the body or this and that, and I'm like, I don't even know this person, you know. He's never been around. I haven't seen him in 25 years, blah, blah, blah. And so then they called my Uncle Pat, and then they called my Aunt Judy in Pennsylvania, and Cousin Sherry calls me to make sure I knew, and all this other stuff. And I guess Aunt Judy told him, you know, there's nothing we can do, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, we have a program here where a nursing home, or not a nursing home, what do you call that? Where they put people down under the ground? What homes are them?
For some reason tonight I'm coming up with brain FDs every time I.
Not a nursing home, but a, you know, they have you
Mortuary?
a mortuary, yes. They have the open casket or the closed casket or whatever. Or they burn them or whatever. Funeral home. That's what I was looking for. So I guess there was a funeral home down there that would go ahead and take situations where nobody has a nobody, and they would bury him. So Aunt Judy signed some papers with them, and I guess he got buried down in Columbus. And that was the end of it, you know. I mean, it sucks, but I don't know that man, you know. I haven't seen him in 25 years, and then before that, I didn't see him for like 15 years, you know. And he was not a nice person when I got him released to my house. You know, it disrupted our family, my kids raising, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. He got in arguments with Tracy, and you know, I had to yell at him. You know, he's living downstairs in the basement, and stop. Don't yell at my wife. You go downstairs right now. Tracy, go upstairs. You know, and I had to, you know, stuff like that. If somebody would release me from jail to their custody, I sure as hell would treat them nice. Wouldn't yell and scream at their wife. Wouldn't, you know, treat their kids wrong. I mean, I just don't know what's wrong with this guy. Yes, he's technically my little brother, but I never knew him. After, you know, I got thrown out when I was 15, but earlier than that, I think I was 12 was the last time I seen him, because my mom married Ken Simmons, and I lived with them for a little bit. Then I moved in with my dad, at 12. So from 12 to 15, I never saw my brother. At 15, my dad threw me out, and I got on a motorcycle and went to Florida, and I lived under a bridge for a while, and I was eating grapefruits off people's trees. And, I worked myself up to, having an apartment and then a car, and then I got a car and I drove back to Ohio. So at 17, I finished school and living at my buddy Gutman's house. And, I've never talked to my brother. So them people are not people in my life,
Move on.
Sucks that he died. I'm sorry. I don't wish him bad, but I asked them what he died from, and they said an overdose. I'm like, it fits. Sorry. But this is all, again, why once I got married, I would never destroy that marriage. I will raise my kids. We're going to have a good marriage, like Little House on the Prairie. I'm going to do the best that I can do, and I raise my kids the best that I can. And now, look, one of them is I had 3 kids, and one of them is an engineer for the city of Cleveland, and his boss is about to retire and wants Josh to take over his boss's position, which is going to run the whole building down there of like 12 other engineers. And he said he was here last week, and he said, I've been grooming Josh to take my job when I go. I'm retiring in like 6 months. So Josh is going to get a big step up, in his job and money and all that. And then my other son, he actually got in trouble when he was young, and he straightened out his life, and now he's a journeyman's. He builds houses, basically. He buys houses, fixes them up, and then sells them or rents them out. And then he also, builds houses and all this. And he's making buku bucks now. And him and Josh went in together and are buying houses on the side together under Price's Best LLC. And they're buying houses. So they got like 12 properties between them now. And they both split the money from it, So Josh is working. Plus he does this other work with his brother. And then he comes here and works with OFR, And then, Richard, my oldest son, he's a truck driver and makes good money driving a truck all around the United States. And, he just had my other granddaughter, and, they're all good kids, In my mom's situation, you raised a bunch of kids. I was the black sheep of the family because I got high, I drank, I didn't show up in school, And then I turned out to be, I hate to say it, but the best in my family of that crowd. And, I'm trying to help my little brother out, and my mother, blames me for his wrongdoings, So it caused a lot of problem. I am the poster child of, you came from, screwed up backgrounds, and you still made something of yourself. Because now here I am, I help everybody out. Some lady called today, do you have a 10-gallon tank I have a hermit crab. I'm like, yes, I do. I was like, sure, 10 gallons big enough? Do you want a 20-gallon? She's like, no, it's a small hermit crab, and we've got them in a 5-gallon. A 10-gallon would be plenty. And I'm like, well, sure, come on by and pick one up. She goes, how much you want for it? I'm like, nothing. I mean, we get them free. We get them donated to us. I'd love to help people out, and that was just today. She's going to come and pick up a 10-gallon tank, and I'm going to show her all the little decorations I got for the hermit crabs and stuff, because we got different decorations for different things. You've got
plenty of buckets of rocks out there. Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty of buckets of rocks too. But anyways, I love helping people out. And I try not asking anybody for money. Every once in a while, we'll put up a GoFundMe for like the new tanks we just put. Me and Josh put in 30 grand, and we put a GoFundMe up, and we got like 2,300. So yeah, I appreciate the money, and that helps us out. But me and Josh are still in debt over this, but it's something we wanted. So, it's going to take a few years to recover that money, But I don't know. Enough into my life. Let's get back to the chats. Hayden says, I finally got here. Work is pissing me off. I've missed the live the past 2 weeks. I'm here, though. Hayden, for like, I don't know, 3-4 days after every live stream, it's still public. You can watch it in the morning. You can watch it on Saturday night. You can still watch it. It isn't until like Monday or Tuesday do I put it private.
Yeah, but you can't hang out in the chat.
Yeah, this is true. It's not as
a big
good.
difference.
Yeah. Camel Dan says, do you have any box turtle for sale? Usually we give them away. I don't have any at the moment right now because we got the 2 big tanks in and we didn't have room. Well, we just got the 2 big tanks, displayed and put where they belong, and we haven't started accepting turtles again. When we accept turtles, oh my God, we get bombarded with turtles. Like Herbs Alive, you go there and you visit them, and they've got like them 300-gallon tubs. They got probably 20 of them full of red belly sliders and yellow bellies and red-eared sliders. I mean, it's crazy. So people take them out of the wild and then want us to take them off their hands for them. And the best I can do,
unfortunately, they think they're rescuing them.
right? The best I can do is, did you get them from the wild or did you get them as a baby and grow them up? Because if you get them as a baby growing up, they don't really know what to do in the wild. Every winter they have to dig a hole in the side of a pond and dig under and then dig up out of the water level. And then they have a hole under the ground where they stay for the winter. These things need to be taught this, from their parents, that kind of stuff. And then they never have tried to get food for themselves. They've been handed food by people all their lives. But if you call one out of the wild, I can get it back into the wild. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Jens Carlson says, wish I could get you a Swedish wife, but my sister is taken. I have a wife. Thank you, Jens. I appreciate it.
You sure you're Swedish?
I mean, a sister wife would
Oh,
work.
Doopy comes up with a good one there. The African cichlids. We don't breed fish.
Doopy, we do not try and breed African cichlids. We don't set up a tank for them for breeding purposes. We don't try. We don't do anything at all. Life just happens in that situation. We never put one cichlid into that pool pond, and they showed up and they took over. So I'm sorry, but yeah, in that situation, we still don't do anything to breed. They're doing it on their own against our best wishes.
If you attempt to maintain fish in their optimum conditions, you're going to have breeding.
Right.
It's going to happen. Didn't know those starry night cichlids were a pair. They paired off in the Bellagio tank. Had 2 of them in there growing out, and they just decided that they were a male and female and decided the corner of the tank was theirs. Okay.
Will Star is here. What's up, Will Star? Says, Big Rich rocking the old school 70s feathered hair look. Oh, son, you just jealous. You out there looking for Bigfoot. You got that little short, spiky little haircut. Just because you can't cut it, you don't need to make fun of me. No, I love you, Will Star. Wish you were around more, but
He's got new grandkids too.
yeah. Jesus really jumped. Jason Schilling says, we were at the Legacy today and saw the albino in the tank. Yay! The albino made it back to the tank. Well, that's Reaper's video. And, he's doing good. Okay, we're back to the beginning of that.
Yeah, that's where he was on about the cichlids breeding. No, that's reading. That's not. It was Doopy's comment about the cichlids breeding.
Oh, that's up here. Right there.
Okay.
So let me go back down.
Yeah, different keyboards.
Big Rich, I'm going to, Matt LeMay says, Big Rich, I'm going to give you advice you've given me before. It's in the past. Like you told me, work on the future. Don't worry about the past. That woman knows how much you love her. I completely agree, Matt. I mean, she knows I love her. I'm there every day taking care of her. I'm always talking to her. I repeat myself many times, telling her how her granddaughters are born and she's got a grandson coming and this and that. And I can't try and keep her updated, you know, and help her understand what's going on around her. Malame says, when does the glass go into the two big steel monster tanks? Those two tanks are amazing. Okay, here's the problem. We're still looking for a piece of glass for the 3500, the new tank that we just got placed in. And the tank down the center aisle, we have the glass for. But remember, we have to strip it of the original paint that failed. And Josh wants to strip it the same time that we strip the sump. So we're going to have to take the sump and all the filtration out of the sump and then hook it up to a pool next to it and have our filtration running while we're doing the sump and that middle tank. We don't want to take that on until after we get done with the 3500 and get these fish back into it and all this, because we have fish in the sump that got to go back in the 3500. So we have to wait until we get the glass to finish the 3500. We can still place it. We can put it in place and get it all wired up and hooked up and all that now, which is what we're working on. But until we get the glass for the front nose, we're not going to move forward with the center tank or the sump. After we get the 3,500 gallon up and running and the fish back in it and the gravel back in it and the background on it and all that stuff, we're going to go ahead and attack both of these, because it's going to take up a lot of space in the fish room, and we're going to limit our walkways around, you know. So we don't want to take that on until we're done with this. So maybe another 2, 3, 4 weeks, man, at the worst, you know, worst. Stephen Budget says, I'm going to tell Reaper. You little shit, Stephen. Don't tell Reaper. He does this to me all the time. He busts my surprise on my videos with his behind-the-scenes videos. Sue Ann says, rest in peace, unknown brother. Raheem says, sorry to hear about your brother. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to go, you know, bring the mood down for you. Zach Estes says, what are you guys putting in the new tank down the middle? Well, we're thinking a couple ornamental fish, but taking the stingrays and dividing them up, because there's a divider built in that, and putting them in there for breeding stingrays, and then have like arowana and African arowana and other top floating fish around that don't bother the stingrays in that center tank. So that opens up the whole 2200. We can put any other fish we want in there, because we're using that just for ray breeding. But I don't like the fact that we've got 8 different types of rays and they could crossbreed. I'd rather put these over here, and let them breed and have the highest quality pups, you know, we can have. So
That you need the breeding is fairly aggressive once in a while, and you got to separate them.
yeah.
Females can get pretty tore up.
Well, see, now in each one of those that take down the center, we can have a floating PVC and coastal and netting that we can take the female. She's been beat up too much and put her in there and keep her separated from the males.
Yeah, well, those surface separators that we use.
Right. Or even the babies. Scoop the babies up and put them in there and keep them in the same water and all that. So it's going to help us.
Oh, yeah.
And then our 2200 won't be a stingray breeding facility. It'll now be a beautiful display tank of, like, you know, huge monsters or something.
I can tell you right now what it's going to end up being.
What's that?
It's going to be a school of tiger fish.
Jets Carlson said, I used to watch that too, Little House on the Prairie. See, that's when both people, you know, don't matter what year it is, if both people are working towards the marriage and working for the betterment of, you know, giving your kids more than you had, you know, making a house better, building onto the house, fixing up things, and then when the kids are gone, it's you two together, you know? I mean, there's no other people involved. There's no cheating. There's no lying. There's no sneaking. There's no bullshit. That's a good marriage. That's how it should work, you know? And in spite of all that drama, I still raised my kids, I think, really well. So, you know, for all my family that thought I was the the black sheep of the family, and I'd never amounted nothing. You know, screw them. I don't talk to any of them no more. None of them helped me out. I was living under a bridge at 15. I mean, who puts a 15-year-old under the bridge or out and you can't live here no more? Who does that? Well, my dad, for one. And I don't know. I went to Florida because I had family down there. My grandmother was down there. My uncles were down there, and none of them would take me in. My grandmother said, I live in a trailer park. I can't take you in. So I made this trip from Florida for nothing, and now I don't have no place to go, and that's how I ended up under the bridge for over a year. I lived under the Intercoastal Bridge in Boynton Beach, Florida. Shauna says, I have a 60-gallon tank I want to use for hermit crabs. You know, that gives them plenty of room, and as your crabs, you know, leave the shell, go to the next one, you have other crabs, you know. I like a multiple hermit crab thing because, you know, they get rid of their shell and they go to a bigger one. You have to have multiple shells laying around, you know, for them. Joanna Nella says, Rich, you have a big heart. Oh, thank you, Joanne. Jens Carlson says, men that cries have good hearts. I never cry. There was some dust in the wind here, you know. I don't cry. I'm a man. And Doopy says, I like watching the live stream live. Don says, I was always told you got broad shoulders, you can take it, and then learn from other people's mistakes. And see, learning from other people's mistakes is a big thing in life. You need to do that. And do things different. Yes, and you did. You're an amazing dude with an amazing family. Oh, thank you. Camel Dan says, next time you get a box turtle, hit me up, please. I'm sorry, Camel Dan. I will not remember this. I had the brain surgery. I don't have memory like that. And even if I write it down, I'll forget where I wrote it down. So what we'll do is we'll show it on our videos. You know, hey, we got these turtles in. If anybody wants them, contact us. Just keep watching our videos and you will be in the know.
I'm sorry, but can you even imagine what kind of a tangled web it would be to even try to keep track of who wanted what?
Yeah.
Oh, insanity. Jeez. You have to have a computer dedicated to that, just AI.
Matt Urban comes in. Yay, Matt. Matt's great. The turtles all end up with me. Well, in this last situation, we had all them turtles here, and then we had to take down the tank because we had to move to get these new tanks in, and we didn't have space for turtles no more. And Matt comes over to take 2 or 3, and we talked him into taking all 9 or something.
Yeah, Matt, even you, there's a limit, man.
Matt's at his limit now.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much understands that. Yeah.
But thank you, Matt, for helping us out in that situation. No, you gave him a great home, and we appreciate it.
Well, it's not that. He's been help around here besides.
Oh, yeah. When we get back up and going.
I got to throw back in his children. Have been a help around here.
Yes, too. Yes.
Yeah.
They were great.
Having
Great kids.
Kids around the next generation. That's important.
We're getting close to being able to set that tank back up, and, we can take some off you if you need. Find them other homes and stuff. So just remember that.
Hey, we've got one right now.
We got a turtle?
No. I was saying, tell Matt, we've got somebody wants one, I'll do.
Oh, yeah. If somebody wants one, sure.
Touch base with, what's his name? I lost him on.
Who?
The guy that was asking you to keep him enlisted for. You see,
that was a box turtle. Matt has the
box turtles.
Yellow bellies and the red-eared sliders.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot bigger demand for the box turtles, but be careful where they go.
Even Matt was at Legacy today with his kids. The lady working the predator tank started telling my kids about the fish, and my kids were like, we know. We swam with them before they got here. That's awesome.
Put her in her place.
That reminds me of walking into like Petland and the guy comes up to you, can I help you? No, I know more than you.
Oh God, it feels so good to do that.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Matt LeMay says, Rich, you and Brian Barchek were a major part of my recovery back when I had my first stroke. Brian kept me going with emotional support and helped me with my group. It's just amazing what you guys did. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that, Matt. Stephen Machin says, Willstar needs to film the far back pond in his style. I just agreed to film that pond today to somebody else, and now they're saying it needs to be Willstar. If Willstar videos that back pond, it'll all be about, we've got hair over here. We found Bigfoot back here. I'm sorry, Willstar. I'm sorry.
Stalking the plaster deer.
Oh, you guys don't even know. We go into our backyard, and back there by the second pond was a dead deer, and his whole butt was eaten away. So we don't know what killed him. We don't know, but it's in our yard. And I'm like, well, can you grab? I talking to Josh. I'm like, can you grab him with the bobcat? Do something with them. He's like, you want me to throw him in the neighbor's yard? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Dig a hole with the bobcat first. Grab the deer, put him in it, and put the dirt back on top of him. Don't throw it in that neighbor's yard. And I'm like, Josh. He goes, I was kidding, Dad.
Did I get up in the front yard of that guy across the roof?
Matt says, what you drinking, Jerry? Gatorade.
Gatorade.
He's been sober for like 40 years. I've been sober about 15 seconds since my last sip. Oh, it jumped again. Damn it.
It's past 8 o'clock.
That's okay. I'm having a good time. I don't want to end it. You got things to do, you can. Shauna says, how are the baby arapaima doing? They're doing great. Josh just moved them out of the 110 tall tank and put them in the 135. It's a lot shorter and wider to give them more room because they're growing so big. Jens Carlson says, Rich never cries. Okay, buddy, you hard. That's right. You remember that, Jens. Remember that. Man. Dominic says, Jerry, your thoughts on acrylic aquariums? You have any thoughts on that?
If you're going for size, you got to go acrylic.
True.
Other than that, I would rather have glass myself, if I can.
Well, yeah. Glass is much cleaner, much clearer. It doesn't craze. It doesn't bend out. It doesn't, turn yellow after 10 years. But it is heavy. And you can clean it with the magnet scrapers without worrying about scratching the acrylic, which happens a lot to us around here. So now no community service is allowed to clean our tanks. It's between me and Josh. We don't even let Jerry do it. It's my job or Josh. And then that way we know, because we watch when we start, let's say we take the scraper, first off, you pull the scraper off, you look at the receiver and see if there's any pebbles or scratches or like pieces of sand in it. If there's nothing in it, you go ahead. But first, we'll watch the first stroke and make sure there's not a line left. If there's a line, you can't go no farther. Something is in there and it's scratching the acrylic. So, other people didn't even look for that. And they took on the new 550 we got, and they just went like this back and forth, all the way down. And there's a line back and forth, all the way across on the inside. And then they moved over and did the whole front of the tank like this. And we're like, oh my God. Now we got to empty that tank. And basically it'll probably be Josh getting inside there and using the, what do you call that stuff? It's a paste. There's number 3, number 2, number 1, buffing compound, and bringing it down, scratching it up with the number 3, and getting it to even go up against the scratches up and down, and then using the number 2 this way, then using the number 1 this way, and then putting on the acrylic polisher. And it's a big, long, stressful thing to do to get these scratches out. So, yeah, it's been a pain in the butt.
On a big tank, it's more complicated than coating these steel tanks. And that's for considering having to rip off the coating, it didn't work.
Right. Tyler Curtis says, "What's up, Jerry? Since no one has asked, here's to you, brother.
You're welcome.
Here's
Thank
to you. See dip.
Whatever. You scratch where you itch.
Matt LeMay says, Big Rich, I used to fish the bridge where you lived all the time, starting when I was a kid until my 30s. Probably fished it well while you were living there. That's kind of ironic that we meet again." Well, okay. It was in Boca Raton, or I'm sorry. It was the first one or the second one? I may be wrong. I think it was Delray Beach, because I used to go to Lake Ida Park, which was on Lake Ida Road in Delray Beach, and then I would walk to the beach, which was over the Intercoastal Parkway, and we would go to, I forget the name of the beach there. But then I lived under it, and under it were these big, huge, I-beams going across, and in the center of that, I had found wood and put across there, and that was where my bed was, and all my stuff, that I had, that I owned, was up in there. So when you go look at a bridge, and you see the bridge going out, there's cement goes from the ground up to where the bridge meets. Right there is where I made my bed between two I-beams, and that's where I lived. And then one day I was out there. This is crazy. This is the craziest story ever. I was out there and I looked to the right because there's the Intercoastal. There's a big, huge, river running through, and that's where all the restaurants were and golf courses and all this stuff and houses back up to the Intercoastal. There was no, from the beaches. Wave action, right. Now, then you go over the Intercoastal, and then all you got is like rich people houses over there. You can drive down, A1A through that whole thing, and it's all rich people houses. So on this side is where all the high rises were and all that kind of stuff. And I looked down, there was a golf course on this side of the road. And, from under the bridge, I looked that way and I saw a storm coming. And you saw all like dark, it was sunny as can be over here. In Florida, it's hot and sunny. It rains 10 minutes later, it's back hot and sunny. Okay. So I'm looking this way, it's hot and sunny and dry, and there's a golf course. I look this way, gray skies and lightning striking the Intercoastal just left and right. I'm like, whoa, look at that, And it kept getting closer and closer. And then we saw a tornado. And this tornado touched down right in the Intercoastal, so it was a water spout, basically. And it kept getting closer. Then it hit land. And then you saw debris. And right before it hit the bridge, I ran up. I was with me and two other people. We ran up the cement and got up on where my bed is. And the tornado hit the bridge. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, it was like a freight train. We saw the wind pick up so much, and then so much debris, we couldn't even see the ground. It was all like light brown, and just, it was like louder than a freight train. And then it went to nothing. And we were like, holy shit. And we run down, and I look that way, and we see the wall of a tornado, and then we look this way, and we see another tornado. No, we're in the eye. It's the same tornado. So we ran back up, and we had to deal the same thing again. All this debris, all this, it was fast as can be. I've never heard anything like this in my life. It was shaking the bridge and everything. And I wish I had a video camera for that. I had a tornado pass over me. I was in the eye of it, and then ran back up and then hit the other wall of it. It was the craziest thing I ever been in Florida. But, down there, I used to lay shingles. And in Florida, a lot of the houses are only a single story.
Oh, yeah.
So we would take the shingle truck and back up to the roof of the house. And we'd take shingles off the front and make stairs out of the shingles to get up to the roof and stack them up on the roof.
Got it.
Well, I worked 80 hours a week at ADP Lumber, delivering shingles. And, we were doing this, and we would sit up there at, like, break time. It'd be sunny and hot and sweaty as can be. And then off way over there, like Lake Worth, Florida, or Palm Beach, Florida, there's a storm going. And you see tornadoes, 2 or 3 of them, touch down. And we're sitting up there, and, it got closer that you feel the cool wind, and you're like, yes, I love tornadoes, because it's so hot, and, the cedar shakes. Everything is cedar shakes. They're not like the shingles you use here, asbestos or whatever.
Yeah, I know cedar shakes well.
Oh yes, you sweat, you get that cedar shake dust all over you. It's itchy, scratchy, and and that wind came in and it was so nice. So I loved tornadoes as long as they didn't get too close. It cooled off the wind and it cooled us off, and and that's the reason I left Florida was because we came to a house, and the difference between north, south, east, and west on a roof, right?
Yeah.
One of them's dry rotted, the other one's wet with like what do you call that, algae and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're walking up the roof, and I slid down, and I fell down this roof carrying two 80-pound bundles of shingles. I slid down and then hit the boom, and I hit the truck, half of my body on, half of my body off, and flipped my body over. Well, at that point, that's where I broke the bottom of my back and why I got back problems now. I broke a couple vertebrae and stuff. And, they were like, well, you need to show up for work or you're fired. And I'm like, I can't move, And back in them days, I was working 80 hours a week at $4 an hour with no overtime. They didn't pay me no overtime. And then they weren't going to, they'd have no hospitalization, this and that. And they told me I was faking it. And I'm like, no, I can't get. So they fired me. And, I went in, about a week later, and I tried talking to the owner, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't, move. And, he didn't want to hear from it, this and that. And I called my buddy up in Cleveland, or North Royalton at the time, and that was Gutman. And he said, yeah, I can stay with him as long as I pay him rent. So I'm going to have to find a job as soon as I get here. So I had a car at that point. I had worked up from being under the bridge to now having an efficiency at $75 a week. And then I got an apartment. And then I got a car. Now I'm driving back to Ohio. That was close, yeah. So I make it back to Ohio, and I'm living in my buddy's spare room at his house, paying him $75 a week. And that's how I finished out school and stuff. But I'll never forget that damn tornado. That was crazy.
When I first came down here from Wisconsin, when I pulled up outside.
That's weird hearing somebody say down here, because we're usually north of everybody.
Right. Anyway, when I pulled up outside, before I even came to the door, I'm thinking to myself, now, what am I going to do if I'm not welcome? Well, I could always go to Florida and try to kiss a hurricane. And that was my exact thought in my head. If this don't work, just keep going south.
Well, it worked out, Jerry. You do good here.
Now, part of my family are hillbilly loggers. They take out the dead tall cedar out of the national forest up in Washington and bolt it out and shake it and split it. And kind of cedar shakes is how they made their living when I was a child.
It surprises me that cedar shakes are up in Wisconsin.
No, not Wisconsin. This was in Washington. I didn't grow
up in Washington, like by Oregon?
Yeah, Washington.
That's still north.
Northwest.
All the cedar shakes are usually down south in like hot summer,
It's a salmon forest, man. It's nothing but cedar and.
Okay. So because of the cedar trees around.
It's a rainforest.
Okay, gotcha.
But out in the national forest, you can't go out there with any machinery. Yeah. So they helicopter out or drag it out with mule teams.
That makes sense. Yeah, they're using the resources they have. That makes sense.
I bet you I could still split a bolt of shingles real quick. I know how to use the splitter and everything. Man.
Carrying 80-pound cedar shakes by the steel band, put one under your arm so you got 160 pounds on this side, and do the same on this side, and walk up a roof. This is what I did every day for 2 years.
I didn't even carry my own carpet when I was laying carpet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was a beast when I was younger.
No, we had part-timers for that. I'd say we were muscle. Pick it up and put it down. Pick it up and put it down. They were good.
Matt Irvin says the red-eared sliders are multiplying. Have had a few clutches lately and 3 babies hatched this week. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Matt. We stacked him up with red-eared sliders and yellow bellies. But, we had to. We didn't know what to do with them, and Matt took them.
Last one we had, didn't we? Oh, wow. We skipped a couple of.
Yeah. Well, no, they're ahead of us, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we had some
There we go.
turtle that laid eggs just recently. Oh, that one never showed up. I saw one lady that came to check and see if she wanted those turtles. Never mind.
no, I get you.
Yeah, well, we go through enough around here without coming up with things that didn't work.
Matt LeMay says, Big Rich, you say you're sorry to Will Star, but you're not joking. That's exactly what the video would be about. He's just a bit obsessed. But he's one hell of a guy. That's our Will Star.
Oh, Matt and Wilstar have been around about the same length of time.
Tyler says, men don't cry, I will admit. But I do cry at movies every time, as much as I hate to say it. Dude, you put a good, honest man that wants good for his family in front of the Notebook and watch that he don't, there's some dust in the air or something. You know, he's going to make an excuse because he's going to cry. You know, you don't have to be a man and not cry. You can be a man and cry because, you know, so what if people think you're this or that? I really don't care. I know that talking about Tracy, it hurts me from the gut, and you know she didn't deserve this, and it brings up the waterworks. I'm sorry, but you know if you want to say I'm not a man and you know say it to my face, let's go for it. You know that's all I can say.
You ever laugh so hard you cried?
Nah.
Oh my God. Eyes are watering and you can't stop laughing. Oh,
Depth charge says OFR after hours. What? Oh, okay. It's not OFR behind the scenes. I thought he was saying something about Reaver. This is after hours. Yes. Depth charge. Here's to you, buddy. You should be here. You know, we called off the sale because you guys didn't come out.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're gonna put that on them?
Well,
I'm game.
It's all their fault, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it was a multitude of things. You know, we don't have time. I bought the tents and then tried setting them up, and the wind destroyed them. I wanted to buy them tents and set them up and set up tanks and fill them up and leave them going and empty out everything and put everything up for sale. And then the day comes, we can say, yes, it's open today, and boom. And never worked out that way. So I can't pre-set up the tanks, and they said they weren't coming, so I don't have, you know, their help to set up for that day only and have like 20 people here. I just said, screw it. I told Josh, go ahead and put stuff up for sale on the internet and this and that.
Yeah,
And he's been selling shit since, you know.
Yeah. Well, he had offers on the stuff already, but we're just going to let it set for the sale.
Right.
Unless it was, you know, an emergency need or something, you know.
Camel Dan says, I would be willing to give you guys a hand sometimes. I live 2 hours away. If we could coordinate something, I would help you. Well, Camel Dan, when we do this stuff, we put it out in the video. Hey, this upcoming Saturday, we need like 20 people here, you know, this and that. And then we move a big tank or something. So if you keep watching the videos, you'll always know when we're in need help.
Right now, if you let Josh show you how he wants that tank stripped, you could probably set your own hours, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out there stripping some of that old crop off the tanks. I'm sorry. The paint that didn't pass his muster.
Yeah, that was horrible.
You know, you grab a hold of that thing and hold on to it for any second at all with any force.
You feel it.
Your fingers stick to it.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
This is like 6 months later. I hear Tracy beeping.
Not sticky stick, but well. Gotta go check on
Yeah,
Tracy.
that's the second beep.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't take off like I was going to.
I'll be right back. Keep talking, Gary.
Yeah.
I'm coming, Tracy. I'm coming.
Jens Carlson says, smoke up, Jerry. That I've never had a problem with. I grew up with it. Spent around my whole life. And I don't drink. I never really cared for it anyway, but it was always there. Anyway, I enjoy my flower. Oldest and baddest Cleveland Rich here in chat. We're way behind here, according to this. But we've got to go with the pace.
Just need to suction out. Doing good.
All right, well, I'm gonna go feed the boy. Take care of some business.
Okay. She's back to 97 now. See?
Yeah, nice.
Wait, what happened?
Right, if I don't see you before,
99.
yeah. Stay fishy, my friends. Travel well.
All right, see you, Jerry. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So Terry Time, oldest and baddest, says, good evening, Rich, Jerry, in chat. And she says, smack that like button, people.
Good idea.
Oh, look at this. Bob Taylor, $10, says, how are the wounded guard doing after hours? Rules? Well, thank you. The guard are getting better. They're doing good. None of them seem stressed or anything like that. They just seem like they were nitpicked, and then they still keep swimming around, you know? So they're all doing good. None of them look like they're stressed or in peril, and their fins went from being red in the fins to just red on the ends. So they're healing. It's getting better. It'll take probably a month to get the fins back as long as they were, but you know the hard part's over with, and the bad part's over with. In other words, as long as there's no more stress, they're not getting worse. They're getting better. Oh, and thank you for the $10, Bob. Appreciate that. Jens Carlson says rich people's houses are not friendly. Oh, rich people's houses are not friendly? I don't know what that means, Jens. I'm sorry. Sue Ann says, Camel Dan, you can send Josh a message on the Facebook page. Okay, there's 2 pages, guys. You got to get to know the difference. Ohio Fish Rescue. That is our business page and what Josh answers to. You cannot post your pictures on there. You cannot say, hey, I have a sick fish. Can you tell me what this is? You can't do that. It's our business page, and basically Josh posts out on it, but if you send him a message through that, you can ask Josh, okay? Especially about the fish, going up for sale or giving away, all that kind of stuff. So that's all on there. Now there's Ohio Fish Rescue 501c3. So Ohio Fish Rescue with some numbers behind it. That's a forum. It's a group. It's not a page. But that's the page where we help everybody. You can upload a picture of your sick fish, and then you'll have not only us, but many other people will log on and tell you, what's wrong with your fish and help you out. Or, your fish tank's cracked and, can get some help or this or that. So there's 2 different pages. So you got to, message the right page. Just remember, Josh runs the main page, the business page. I run the forum. Oh my God, it jumped in. Happy American Dad says, Big Rich, any plans on getting a pike or a muskie? Oh, that's a dream fish for me. We haven't ran across any. Oh my God, Tyler. Tyler says, I've laughed so hard I've cried. My son grabbed an electric fence for the first time after we told him not to, And he goes, I got it. And he got shocked for like 30 seconds before I could slap his hand. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's crazy. Hannah says, Big Rich, do you like gemstones? Is that like star sapphire, amethyst, you know, that kind of thing, gemstones? Or like the video show, The Mighty Gemstones? Either one, I like both of them. Mary Oliver says, Rich, can you boost Jerry up all the more? Now, see, this is my chair, my old chair. I have to sit in Josh's chair because this chair went higher. But then I used Tracy's 5-inch thick mat to boost Jerry up some because he's a tiny little troll. And so he sits next to me and he's still smaller than me with this big, huge mat of a Roho cushion on that chair. That's funny. Camel Dan says, my wife Brittany loves your hair, Rich. So did Tracy. She loved, you know why? She said she could take this, put it around her, and tie it in a knot behind her back. I don't know why she liked that so much. Jen says, Rich, you got 3-color hair. No, I've got 2-color. What it was, what it is. That's it. this is what it was. This is what it is. And if you look on the sides, it's only in the front. So I'm going to take and cut all this off, and then you're going to see brown hair and none of this white hair on either side, and it's just still brown. See, on both sides. I'm gonna cut that shit. Oh, it looks like I got all caught up on all the conversations here. And I'm out of alcohol. There's my 2 cups I allow myself. And what's this here? I don't know what this is. Something Jerry had. All right, so it looks to me like it's winding down, and let me get off this. Will Star says, we can get a boosted chair from McDonald's for Jerry. That's what we need, because I need my Roho seat back. This makes your butt feel so good. This is so soft. Look at how soft this is. My fingers disappear in the softness. If you guys look up a Roho seat, it's expensive. This was made for Tracy's electric chair, which she can't run right now. So I don't have a problem letting Jerry, use it. But my goodness, this was so soft when I used to sit there. Now I'm here for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it's like my hips ache and hurt. The butt bones on each side are just tired of sitting on a chair, I guess. I don't know. I don't sit this long, but. Oh, Happy American Dad says, so Big Rich, how long do you think it's going to take the 3,000 to be up by the koi? Are you going to have a tarp it for a year? No. I want it done by this summer. Here's the thing. we have to put in, I have to take and rent the unit from ABC Rental. It's a drill that goes on the end of your Bobcat, and I have to drill the holes, right? So I'm going. It's 16 foot long. So every 4 foot, so 4, 8, 12, 16. All them holes, 4, 8, 12, 16. That's 4 holes. I have to drill it down in. And now what I got to do is take my DeWalt screw gun. That's an 18-inch hole. And then I have to take my DeWalt screw gun down in there and go wide all the way around and make it a bell shaped at the end, because we don't want it pressing down into the ground, right? And once I make this with the columns up, I can put up a steel frame for it, an iron frame going across all that. So the pond is here and the ground goes like this, right? So the pond is flat level. At the end, we have a little bit of rocks for about a foot, and then the ground goes away. If I dig back here and put in some posts, I can have a metal structure in between and put the 3000 right on there. I want it as a background when I'm looking out to the pond. You see the koi pond, the Oasa filters are over here, the waterfall's over here, but on that side, you're going to see the 3000 glass and not see the back side of it. I can cover that up with elephant ears on and all kinds of different plantage, you know, over the summer. And that'd be fine. So we have a koi quarantine system. Right now we're using a little tiny 600-gallon tub in front of the fish room that's in our way. I would much rather, you know, like on the 20th, we have a lady that bought a house, and it's a whole koi pond with a koi net and styrofoam holding the koi net up and all this stuff. And she don't want another fish. She don't want the pond. She don't want the equipment. We're supposed to go there and take all the fish, the equipment, and everything. I can bring them back and put them right into that 3,000 gallon and let them quarantine in there. We would see them swimming while the koi pond is down here, you know. Actually, I can move over so you guys can see all of me. Ouch. And I think it would be a great backdrop for the Tracy pond. So I've got to do that this summer yet. Tyler Kerr says, we love it when you, I guess, sit and talk with us. What makes my Friday. This is what makes my Friday. Thank you for spending it with us. Most streamers don't. They just care or have time. We love you, Rich and Jerry and Josh. Thanks. Tyler says we should conference Josh to come next Friday or one Friday and with Josh or Reaper. And Josh, that would be my favorite episode. You know what? We're still working on the software to get, we've tried all StreamYard, Streamlabs. We've tried other things to get people to call in, because we know people all over the United States, other YouTubers, and we can have them on weekly. But we haven't got that done. I don't want any of them other stream things. I want OBS software, and there is a way we can do it to get OBS software to be able to do like Microsoft meetings or something. There is a way. We just got to figure it out yet. Hannah says, Big Rich, what's your favorite stingrays? The albino black diamond. I love that stingray. He's amazing. All right, so we've reached the end here. I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. I appreciate everything, and you know, thanks for hanging out with me. But I mean, if I had another drink, I could hang out with you guys for the next couple hours. But I've got to watch Tracy all night tonight, so I had to limit myself to 2. I don't want to be falling asleep on her and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I have to follow my own rules. You know what I'm saying? I set these rules for the greater good, and that's all there is to it. No one can police you like you have to police yourself. You know, you can get with a guy. If you're a girl, you can get with a guy and he has these rules. Well, that's his rules. They're not necessarily your rules. But when you police yourself, they're your rules and you have to follow them, So it's just, that's how I feel, To be a good person, I have to follow certain rules. And tonight is, I have to watch Tracy. I can't be getting drunk. But it's my night to go out and hang with you guys and have fun. Yeah. Happy medium. I drink 2 drinks and that's it. So appreciate you guys, Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for sticking around for this long. What's it, 8:30? Or 35 minutes past. So I appreciate it. Till next week. What's it? Camel Dan says, live long and prosper. That's funny. Stay fishy, my friends. I'm out of here. Let me see if I can close this down without bothering people. End the stream. And